If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is Speedball Mike Bailey. You're listening to Keepin It Strong Style. Yes.
Yo, this is Rich Latta from One Nation Radio. This is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network. We present to you the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Let's go. It's the Ace of Podcasts, Keepin It Strong Style. Covering New Japan, they ready to hold it down. Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Josh. Come and hit a job out in bury all the frauds. From the Tokyo Dome over to the G1. Social Suplex is the network where we can get it done. I'ma chill and let them have it, cause this is just an intro. Keeping the strong style, 6 stars from the get-go, boy. Yeah, from Tampa Bay to the Tokyo Dome, this is Keeping It Strong Style with your hosts, Jeremy Donovan and the young boy Joshua Smith. And thank you for listening.
Welcome to Keeping It Strong Style, the Ace of Podcast on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Jeremy Donovan here with Chris Samsa this week. On today's show, we'll preview Dominion and cover all its news in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Please support our show by subscribing and following the Social Suplex Podcast Network and Keeping It Strong Style on the podcast app of your choice and leave a rating and review. You'll also get all the network's podcasts over at socialsuplex.com. Check out our Chop Tea store, chop-tees.com/KI Strong Style. That's where you can get your official Keeping It Strong Style merchandise. There's free shipping on every order and 10% off your first order. chop-tees.com/KI Strong Style. If you enjoy this podcast, please consider making a one-time or monthly donation by visiting socialbooks.com/donate and click on the donate button under the Keeping It Strong Style logo. And we are streaming live right now on patreon.com/KI Strong Style for IWGP and Grade 1 subscribers this week. If you want to watch our show live or listen without ads, you can sign up at patreon.com/KI Strong Style. Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm muted. I'm good, though. I didn't want you to hear a baby screaming in the background. She's fine. Don't worry. But I'm good. I'm so good. I'm really happy to be here. It's been a minute, I think. I don't know, probably New Japan Cup preview, maybe?
Yeah, I think that was the last time, yeah.
Yeah, my quarterly ratings boosting appearance, hopefully. Here I am.
Yeah. Always a big draw, yeah.
I don't know about that, but I'm here. I'm ready for Dominion. I love Dominion. So let's rock and roll through it. I think it'll be a good show. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. And by now, I think most of our listeners know where to find you online, but go ahead and get your plugs in up front and anything that you're working on you want to get out there.
Yeah, you can find me at the Chris Samsa on Twitter or any of the major work I do at sportofprowrestling.com. And, I'm trying to go directly to the people these days. So you can find any event preview that I do. I post in the Social Suplex Discord and the NJPW channel, usually, 12 to 18 hours before the event goes live. So keep an eye there. I think it's really great to get feedback from people right off the bat and questions from people directly in Discord. I'm in all the Discords, but because I'm here right now, that's the one we'll talk about. And I think it's a really good group for people to talk NJPW. And I only put those previews directly into the ones I like. So, I'm not saying anything about any of the others, but the ones that people engage with, I should say. It's not the ones that I don't like, but I think it's an engaging space, and you can just kind of find my stuff directly there if you don't want to wade the cesspool that is social media. So that's it right now. That's what I'm working on. I just do the event previews that I send off to the broadcast team, and chat a little bit here and there when things come up that I'm passionate about.
Nice. And it's great that you jumped those in there, because one less excuse to get on Twitter to have to find something. So
for me too. So Twitter is literally, I've got this kind of like cadence of where I post all that stuff. Because I do put it around a bunch of different places, but Twitter is literally the last place that gets it because I hate it. But you gotta keep up appearances. So so it does go up there eventually. But the engagement on Twitter is minimal these days. But all the Discord stuff, and people have kind of siloed themselves off into chatting about things they want to chat about, and I think that's good. Ultimately, I think Discord has kind of replaced message boards maybe, where it's a little more focused and you don't get bogged down with politics or whatever's going on in the world, which is politics and the like, and kind of junky opinions about things that nobody needs it. So I'm pro being anti-Twitter, but I haven't had the balls to delete just yet, but less is more there.
Yeah. Well, I did have a comment here from a Reddit user, Triple S Podcast. There's no real question here, but want to thank Chris for his work. So shout out to that.
Hey, cool. Yeah. That's cool. If I didn't think Reddit was right up there with Twitter, I would I would spend time there. But maybe less now, because the same idea. People, if you only go to the places that you care about, I think Reddit's actually really a good place. But it gets a little dicey there too. It's just, there's so many distractions in the world. I don't need another one. So but that is really kind. I really appreciate that. That's really awesome. I'm glad that people are still enjoying the work. God, what, 6 years later or so? Hopefully for you too. I mean, I think you and Josh and I have all been doing this for pretty close to the same amount of time. So it's kind of neat that we're still going, and it's a really cool thing. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I don't think you guys do either. So
it's crazy to think about, man. How long we've all been in this kind of wrestling media bubble and doing this thing.
I said it in a I said it. Where was I chatting? It was one of the Discords, one of the other Discords. Sorry. And I was like, somebody mentioned a date or something, and I was like, this is just what I've been up to since 2019. And the person was like, man, you've been doing this since I've been watching. And I was like, I bet there's more. I bet there's more like you than not like you around, because this, all this stuff is cyclical. So and that's okay. It's okay to fall in and out. And I had fallen out of wrestling for a long time, even just as a fan, and I got wrangled back in and wanted to contribute, and this community, the New Japan community, I still think is the best of the bunch. It's the most focused and thoughtful and kind group of wrestling. There's a reason I haven't expanded my work, because I don't want to. I just don't need it. It wouldn't be hard for me to do. I have it all. I might outsource that in the style of work that I do at some point, but I think I'm going to stick with this group, because these are the good ones, I think.
Yeah, overall, I think, New Japan fan base, great set of fans.
I just think we're realistic. That's the big piece to the puzzle. I think we're realistic about what the product is. I think we're willing to be critical of the product and not defensive. And at this point, the New Japan product is not big enough to be a target. I'm sure we'll talk about AEW and the relationship, the big "it's complicated" on the Facebook relationship
situationship, as the Gen Z are saying nowadays.
Yes, they're talking. I'm sure we'll talk about that. But other than that, the discourse is usually pretty focused, and that's I'm here for it. So cool, very cool.
Yeah. Well, before we jump into Dominion, I just kind of want to do a mid-year check-in with you, since we're about halfway through the year now, through the calendar year for New Japan. So first, just overall thoughts on New Japan 2025 so far.
I think the lift that New Japan has gotten in positive vibes from the Hirooki Goto championship reign is incredible. I don't know how sustainable that is or how long it can go, but I think we're still there. So we have that going for us. I have been, I don't want to say disappointed, but I have not been thrilled with either of the major tournaments. I thought that the New Japan Cup ended up not delivering as much as I wanted it to. And the stories of the tournament, the ones that kind of flowed through, were less than engaging, I think. And same with Best of Super Juniors. I think that's what it comes down to. When I think about Best of Super Juniors, I went into that tournament pretty excited and pretty positive with with the roster that they had brought forward. And, when it comes down to it, the wrestling was good. I was talking to someone, what I said my favorite thing about Best of Super Juniors, and this was after the Corkins even, I was like, high floor, low ceiling, right? You're probably not going to get a bunch of 5-star, oh my God, everyone's got to see this matches, but you're going to get a bunch of 4. You're going to get quite a few 4-star, whatever matches. And I'm not a star rater, but that's just a good way to talk about it, right? Mm-hmm. But you're not going to get much of the, 2-star specials, right? And I think that did sort of turn out to be true, but it really all came to the middle. I think there was and to me, it really comes down to the booking. And I think the booking they didn't have enough stories of the tournament. I think the block nights could have been any night on the tour. They could have been, night 4. Yeah. They didn't feel like it was a climax. It didn't feel like it was the end of anything. And part of that's probably like being in essentially a gymnasium with the house lights on and all that. But yeah, and that was sort of the case with New Japan Cup too, where it never felt like there was a groundswell behind someone, like when everyone got behind Hirooki Goto. Mm-hmm. And with every one of his defenses, the cool thing about a champion like Hirooki Goto that we haven't really had in New Japan for a while now is that he can lose. He can lose any of these matches. And, maybe not like the Nagata match, but everyone else that he's fought, you go into it thinking maybe this is it. And we're going to talk about another one coming up here, right, in just a couple days. And I think that's the best champion. I think a best babyface champion, maybe best heel champion too. But so yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of where I'm at. I think nuts and bolts wise, it's been a fine first half of the year. I think Dominion might tell us some stuff. There's a lot going on here, but there hasn't been anything super exciting since the Goto title, and that's sometimes it's. At least it's not embarrassing. And we've had some periods of time where it was sort of embarrassing and to have to defend what's happening, especially in a main event scene. It's funny. I feel the same way about champion. Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, I'm sure I was on a show trying to defend that in 2020 or 2021 or whatever. I'm sure someone can go back and find it if they really wanted to, where I'm like, this is cool. It's kind of neat. And I don't know if I would do that again, because I didn't think it was going to go on for this long, but or House of Torture was going to be this type of thing for this long, even though they've sort of settled in where they are. But yeah, and it's funny. I mean, I feel the same way about my Chicago White Sox baseball. I mean, they're still not as good as they've ever been, but they're not embarrassing anymore. And that was all I was asking of them. I would like a little more out of my New Japan. Don't get me wrong. I think the roster is great and the talent is awesome. I do think it's the booking. And that sucks for me, because that when I can't, tie together the booking to the results, it's that sucks. That's what I've always really liked. That's how I ended up doing what I do, is because it was so easy to tie the booking to the result, and the statistics and the time people are spending in the ring and everything else and all the other bits and bobs. And there's a lot of stuff that's just coming out of left field and kind of random right now. But I think the G1 is always the tell about what the year looks like, and I'm hopeful that we get a little bit more information about what the G1 looks like sooner than later. So I think there's been some out of the ring stories. Naito leaving obviously is humongous, right? But other than that, I think it's mixed bag. I guess that's the only way to say it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like it's been a very kind of up and down year. I feel like there's been some highlights, but also just kind of some like, all right, where are they going? Like you said, nothing bad or embarrassing, but just kind of like, all right, like the booking is not maybe lining up. Like you say, a lot of times wins and losses should count, or the match time, who's getting these main events, and sometimes that's not even adding up to who's getting pushed and what's next and who's getting in title matches. And so, yeah, it's a little weird when it ends up like that. And I feel like they've really failed to capitalize on some of the exciting things that have happened throughout the year. I feel like, January, you had all the buzz around the Gabe Kidd Kenny Omega match, and then you follow up with the Gabe Kidd Tsuji match, which, even though it had the horrible, double knockout finish, it was still an incredible matchup, and there was so much buzz. And
I don't even know if that was a horrible finish. It just it was the best way out.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't love how Tsuji was pretty much on his feet. He should have just stayed down.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, and you mentioned not loving the tournaments, and I feel like New Japan Cup, the two hottest guys, Gabe Kidd and Tsuji, were out pretty early, and so it's we just saw that great match, and they're all the buzz, and then they're out. And it's all right, who are we really supposed to follow here? And then, I mean, Dave Finlay winning was cool, and I think everybody kind of had him circled based off of him possibly winning the previous year and the illness and all that stuff, which Finlay's awesome. He's been doing a great job, but it felt like, I don't know, I would have rather seen Gabe Kidd or Tsuji really ascend and go deep into that tournament, because those seem to be two young guys who are hot, who are catching fire, that we should be following throughout this year, and then they were just gone.
Yeah, I agree.
And then Goto's world title reign, I mean, that's been awesome, and I think that's been a great kind of nostalgia run, and Goto's been killing it. And like you said, it's his title matches. You don't know, he could have easily lost to Tanahashi. They keep trying to push Umino. He could have lost to Umino in Chicago. That would have been disastrous.
That we were sitting there thinking, well, when it wasn't the main event, we all looked at each other and said, all right, well, good. We got out of this one.
Yeah. He could have lost to Zach in California. He had very believable challengers that. Man,
I got it. I have to jump in. That was a horrible finish.
Yeah.
the Zach Goto. I just have to say that out loud so it's out there and that people have heard that I think that finish sucked. That's all. Go on. Carry on.
Yeah, not a great finish. And yeah, and so the Goto title reign's been great, and it's been a good thing. But yeah, I just feel like maybe some other parts of the card haven't maybe equaled the level of what Goto has been doing. And yeah, I feel like they dropped the ball with Tsuji and Gabe Kidd. And then, yeah, Best Super Juniors, like you mentioned, that should be a highlight of the calendar year, and it was just fine. The final match with Yo and Fujita, and then Hiromu and Akira are your top end matches of the tournament, and everything else is just, like you said, that 4 stars, 3.5 4 stars, which obviously that's good, and it's good to watch good wrestling, but historically, this tournament has produced some match of the year contenders with in line with the heavyweights, where at the end of the year you're like, oh man, Will Ospreay and Shingo, that could be match of the year. And I get it, not everybody's on their level, but still, I feel like I was talking to Josh about it today. I was like, yeah, they had an embarrassment of talent in this tournament, and it's Akira, Hiromu, Ninja Mac, Mao, all these are really cool guys, Nick Wayne, Kevin Knight, and it's what happened?
And well, I mean, I think there have been periods of time when I've been really positive on New Japan, like the booking, staying stoic and sticking with the plan. Now doesn't feel like the time to do that.
Yeah.
Even though I don't feel like that's where this Goto title reign came from, right? I feel like I don't feel like Goto was the plan. So I think that's why I've enjoyed it so much, because it feels so much like it's not the plan. And that adds this air of mystery to it. But that's the only kind of thing that's happening right now. I mean, Takeshita with the Never title is cool, but like we all know the story there. Like who's beating him? When you think about all the titles, it's just like none of the titles are really, really, really hitting besides the main event. And you can only tap into that so often because it's the big title, right? You can only do that so many times throughout the year, and it's got to be on the big shows. And I mean, I think it's a year where, even though it may already have been written, like maybe you need to throw out the plans and not put Yo in the best Super Junior final. That's it, like, and I know Yo has his fans and the crowd got really into that match. Don't get me wrong, but depending on your priorities, like he ain't it. He's not exciting.
Yeah, I think it's a problem when your fan base as a whole is not even. He was nobody's prediction of going to the finals. Nobody took Yo seriously, and he's out here with his Ziploc bags and kissing everybody, and it's like there's no way this guy gets to the final. And then he does, and it's like, what? How? Why?
I mean, yeah, it's like, yeah, why? Like, why is the question, right? Like, what did Yo gain from going to that final? I got it when they went with him in 2021. They wanted to put him in that spot and like start to build him up. But he's not that. He's not that guy. I'm glad they went with Fujita. I mean, Fujita's awesome, right? Like that's exciting. But then, the turnaround of it is that he doesn't get the big match on Dominion. And that's okay. I get it. I get that. And I know that we'll talk about that too. So, but I'd be hyped to talk about that match right now. And I think you always want to put those types of matches on the biggest show you can, even if it's not the main event. So yeah, I think we're generally on the same page here.
Yeah. And at this point of the year, who's your wrestler of the year so far?
Probably Goto. Just on vibes. The matches have delivered. I've been impressed with the output. I've been impressed with the fans, the fan response. So I think I'd have to go with Goto. I don't know, depending on how long he holds the belt and what his G1 looks like. I don't know. I don't have a ton of confidence that it's going to stay that way. But here on June 9th, yeah, it's got to be him.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Definitely early front runner for New Japan Wrestler of the Year. Like you mentioned, great title defenses, great matches, popping business. So if you want to throw the business metrics in there, like he's a all around what you want from a main eventer. Somebody connects with the crowd, good matches, good business, and yeah, we don't know when the revolution is going to end, but 6 months in, if he continues to have another 6 months like this, I could easily see him capturing like Wrestler of the Year in our awards and in some other New Japan fan awards.
Yeah, if he holds through Wrestle Kingdom, and I know your year ends a little bit earlier than that, but I think if he holds through Wrestle Kingdom, I think it's pretty likely that he's going to stay in that space in my brain, at least in New Japan.
Yeah.
Someone would have to have a really good G1 and something really hot come through towards the tail end of the year.
Yeah. How about match of the year so far in New Japan? What's your top or maybe top couple?
I mean, just Gabe Kenny counts, right? I mean, like that's gotta be.
I count that.
That's gotta be it. I mean, I think that was incredible. I think maybe live bump, but Takeshita Tanahashi was awesome. I thought I had a great time during that match. I just thought they told a story, you know, just in one match. They told a story. They tied back to a lot of history, and that's just extremely my shit. So like I was there with you guys, with my wife, you know, with X-Pac behind us, like like I think about that guy more than I should.
He's probably watching Monday Night Raw right now.
He's got to be. I mean, like, how can he not? He's probably in full gear again.
Yeah.
Have you told that story on the air? I
think we talked about him on the review. Yeah.
Yeah. This man sitting behind us in full X-Pac gear. I mean, full on.
The jersey, the bandana.
Yep. The tights. It was everything. I was so impressed. I wasn't like, yeah, sure. They were chatty behind us, whatever.
Yeah.
But I couldn't even be mad. Yeah. So that helped that one. I think that, like, those are the two that stand out to me. I know there's been other matches that I've really enjoyed. I really liked Fujita Hiromu from Korakuen. I really liked Akira Hiromu from Korakuen. You know, so there was some really high end stuff. I think at the beginning of the Best of Super Juniors, I think that's part of why it being close to the beginning, I think, is part of why I ended up sort of, you know, down on the tournament, is because the really great stuff happened early.
Yeah, after that it was like a slog, you know, after that, yeah.
Yeah, but if you're just looking at matches, like, those were great matches, and Korakuen is legendary. So yeah, I think that's the stuff that really stands out to me. What about you? What do you got?
Yeah, definitely Gabe Kenny was probably my number one. Tsuji and Gabe, even though it had the horrible finish, like, that's definitely up there for me. Goto and Zach. Goto, the first one, Goto beating Zach for the title. I think that's to be up there. Despy and Akira from Korakuen, that title match I would put up there. So yeah, so pretty much on the same line with you, but those are definitely the other ones. And yeah, the Tanahashi Takeshita matchup was awesome as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, so there's been really good stuff. It's just spread out a little bit.
Yeah. And also we had a lot of faction shakeup this year. We had Chaos dissolving in Hantai, just 4 or 5, whatever they are, just 4 guys going into Hantai as well. LIJ is now gone. We've had some departures from United Empire. Seems like all the factions have shaken up in some way. What are your thoughts overall on the factions this year?
Gosh, I'm just waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, we gotta do something here, right? Like, everyone's just kind of ending up kind of all together.
Yeah.
And you know, I am pro faction shakeups. I like Dragon Gate. So, like, that's what they do. They, like, do unit disbands and all that stuff. And I've always thought that was really neat. And, you know, when House of Torture and Bullet Club started to do their thing, I was like, oh, maybe they'll finally do a unit disbands match, or, you know, whatever it may be. And it's same deal. Like, it feels like the booking that doesn't see any of this coming, and they're just like they're not making any sort of bold moves. And that I am a fan of a bold move. So like I'm waiting for it. And at this point, I'm not sure when these things start to shake out. You know, I think we were talking off air a little bit. I think everyone in the office is trying to keep everyone in the ring happy individually, but they're not focused on the collective growth or stability of New Japan. And that's why you see 50-50 booking, and, you know, you see guys not in the unit they don't want to be in, or that, you know, like they're almost letting the wrestler, it almost feels like they're letting the wrestlers run the show. And, you know, I mean, we all lived through the 80s and 90s, and, you know, well, some of us lived through the 80s and 90s and have looked back at some of that wrestling, and like it doesn't work. And then you've got guys leaving, right? You've got high-end, top-tier guys leaving, retiring, etc. Like, I mean, we got to move. We got to get a move on it. So yeah, the faction stuff is fascinating to me. I have so many thoughts about what I hope they do. But I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know what's realistic.
Yeah.
And I always want to hope for something realistic more than anything. And I don't know that I have any hopes like that.
Yeah, and I feel like the fan base is kind of desperate for it. You know, there's a lot of people who like, you know, who's going to be the leader of United Empire, and people are fantasy booking that. There are people who are fantasy booking, you know, what's going to happen with the leftovers of LIJ. Like, is Shingo going to turn heel and start a unit? And then, you know, Shota Umino, is he going to turn heel and start a unit? What's happening with all these guys in Hantai? Like, there's all these fantasy booking and discussions on what's going on with these guys. And like you mentioned, yeah, they're taking kind of the safe route, you know, House of Torture, Bullet Club stuff. It's like, yeah, I think disbanding them would have been a great bold move, and then you make some new units out of those pieces. But instead, I mean, it was pretty much status quo. I mean, House of Torture really wasn't part of Bullet Club besides just a name.
Right.
So they just
like
made it official.
That wasn't exciting. Like, that wasn't exciting. Like,
yeah.
And the War Dogs don't want to be Bullet Club either. Doesn't seem like they're not.
Right. That was Finley's whole deal.
Yeah, I think they use like a little bit of the iconography and all that, but like they don't feel like an extension of what Bullet Club has always been. They feel like their own thing, which is good. Let it, and so does House of Torture. Also good. Let it be its own thing. Like, let it move on. Like, let something die. You know? Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I think that's a piece. Like, they just won't let anything die. And like, we made these decisions in like 2013 that they're just riding, and it's over. It's over. I think Bullet Club is over, and it's never going to make a big bounce back unless they do a Bullet Club OGs thing. And like, even that's, you know, a short pop thing. Yeah. Like, let the War Dogs stop being Bullet Club. It's okay. They want to be baby faces anyway, sort of. I mean, that's a whole nother thing that I'm positive we'll talk about. But like, I don't know, like it feels so weak-minded. And they haven't really gotten behind any of the young guys. And, you know, at this point, 2, 3, 4 of the young guys should have their own units, and they should just be like going for it with someone. Instead, they're all like second or third in the pecking order in each of their own units, and that sucks. And like, point blank, like we got to see some moves. And like, it feels like the only way someone makes their own unit or faction in New Japan is to turn heel, and it doesn't have to be like that. Every unit in New Japan starts as a heel unit. Almost. I mean, like, I can't think of the last one that came up that didn't start as a heel unit.
Yeah, I mean, United Empire, Bullet Club, Chaos, LIJ, TMDK.
Yep. See?
all heels.
So like, who's next to make a big heel turn, right? And, you know, it might be Shingo, right? I think that's a good shout, but like, that is boring now. It's because it mostly is obvious. It's usually pretty obvious what's happening. So, I mean, what's wrong with just like putting some dudes together and saying like, all right, I mean, like, I know they sort of tried it with just 4 guys, but they didn't have a real leader. And then Sonata was Sonata, and, you know, when the unit's getting announced by Taka Michinoku, I mean, like, you know where they slot, right? Like, and even they were sort of a heel leaning.
Before Sonata, yeah.
Yeah. So, and, you know, I don't know. I'm tired of that trope, right? Like, come up with a cooler way to make a unit or to make a faction, right? There's got to be a way. Babyface factions exist. It doesn't have to be like heel turn. This guy turns 2. He's coming with me. You know, Jerry Maguire in The Office. Who's coming with me? I'm bringing the fish. Like, you know, like Doki's with me. You know, like it doesn't have to be that way. It could just be like, oh, cool, we're all together now. Even, you know, go all the way back to Suzuki-gun, right? Like, and every unit then eventually makes this turn, and eventually they kind of land where they're going to land, right? LIJ sort of baby face, but, you know, a little bit iffy every now and then, you know, like Chaos shrug, you know, like eventually it was just sort of just a loosely associated group of wrestlers. So it's been a, you know, and I don't see a way out right now.
Yeah, well,
and I think that's what sort of sucks.
Yeah, well, they missed their way out. I thought, you know, I think there was natural opportunities of all these guys coming back to create units around those guys. Like, from a kayfabe standpoint, why would these guys want to come back and just be, you know, third, fourth guys in a unit? Like, guys like Iya Uemura should have been coming back. You know, Oiwa, and I get there's the whole Oiwa-Zack connection, but I feel like those guys could have been coming back and wanting to really pave their own path and starting their own units. And you could have guys being like, oh, yeah, they're the hot, fresh talent, so I want to be in their unit. And I think you could have made it very compelling, and there could have been jumps without heel turns and just guys being like, hey, you know what? Like, this I'm
with them now.
Yeah, this Uemura guy, like, he's, you know, catching fire, I guess, you know, Heat Storm, and I want to follow him, and then he's doing great things. And so, yeah, you could have had, you know, why not like Yoshihashi just being like, hey, I want to team with Uemura now or whatever, you know? And instead of just sticking him in just 5 guys, or sticking, you know, Oiwa in Team DK and having Umino and Hantai, like they could have put these guys and established them having their own units, and I think that could have helped create new groups and not kind of lump everybody together.
I mean, part of it's that like every unit's got a wrestler slotted for each title when it comes down to it. I mean, usually, right? Like give or take, right? But like TMDK needed a never guy. So Oiwa, right? And it's just like, I get it. At least there's like some backstory there. But like, it also doesn't have to be that. None of this has to be this way. They write this stuff. Like they can do whatever they want.
You're right.
So like that's what's, I think that's what's, you know, I think that's why wrestling discourse is fun, is because like you're actually looking at it as like, you could tell a better story, and I think I know what that story is, and like no one really knows what's happening behind the scenes, or who's leaving, or who's going, or who doesn't have a deal, and maybe we should stop putting titles on people that don't have contracts. I don't know, just a thought. But like, you know, United Empire is gone. Like they're just gone. Like they need new members, or they need to disband, or whatever it may be. And I know that there's like valuable intellectual property and all that, but like, the merch sales ain't that good. So like, they ain't that good for any of them, I don't think. At this point, like if the merch sales were good, the ticket sales would be good, and the ticket sales are just fine, which leads me to believe the merch sales are just fine. So I don't know. I want them so badly to just like essentially break up the glut that's in Hantai, the entirety of it, and put them all into units, and you know, let the dads and whoever's left and be in, you know, in main unit. And because that, I think they think that that's a stronger, you know, brand than it is. But like people like New Japan Pro Wrestling, we don't need a group of wrestlers representing it, I don't think.
Right. I feel like it's kind of a very kind of old school frame of mind at this point. And so we don't need a quote unquote New Japan faction. I think we're fans of New Japan, but these guys can be doing different things. And I think one of the frustrating things, like you said, is like they can do whatever they want. Like this is not like, you know, you mentioned like your White Sox. It's like, I'm sure you would love to like book all the best baseball players to be on that team.
Book a win every now and then.
Right. It's like you can't do what you want there, but like in wrestling, like you could do whatever you want. And so why are we just doing the most easiest, basic, you know, boring options and not getting anything over?
There will be wrestlers, if they listen to this, who will reply to this on social media and say that the company can't do what they want because the wrestlers have a say. You're an employee, brother. Like that's what it comes down to. So, you know, tell the story, act the part, or don't, you know, go home, I guess. I don't know. Like that's not up to me, but like, and that's problematic. And part of that's probably systematic because of pay and travel and benefits and things of the sort, like, and, just the state of wrestling as a industry, that guys have at least some say, especially if you've been around a little while, in what you do. But like, when it comes down to it, there has to be someone that is sitting somewhere that says, this is the plan, period. And it's a little concerning to me that, like, we know who that is in the two major American companies, right? We know that AEW is Tony Khan, right? If something's happening on his screen and there's a win or a loss or whatever, we know that has gone through Tony and he has made that decision. And, of course, there's stories about guys who have battled back on that or whatever it may be. But when it comes down to it, he ends up making the call, or people end up sitting at home. And the same thing, I don't even know how often that would happen in WWE, but like, we know who's writing the show. We know that, Triple H, Paul Levesque is writing that show. And, if someone said no there, I mean, same deal. They'd sit out or get fired or whatever it may be. And like, it's hard to fire a guy that doesn't have a contract. I get that. But like, you can also just not book him. They write it like, and so like, I don't know, someone needs to sit down and like split up the roster into like the coolest units that could be really interesting, and don't ask, just tell them what they're doing. I actually think, as someone who has worked in industries that require that a little bit, like, it's good. It's good when there's someone who's just like, this is what you need to do to be successful here. And then people are successful there, and then they stay and they don't get annoyed. Like, it's a job like anything else. It's a really neat, competitive, it's something you can grow in when you have that right opportunities to. But a good soldier is a good soldier no matter what industry you're in. And good soldiers often get rewarded if they're also really talented. And I think that's one of the missing pieces with this faction stuff, because I know that there's conversations about guys trying to, form their own units or whatever it may be. And it's just silly. Like,
yeah. And even like the United Empire stuff, where the rumors of like the guys not wanting to be a leader. It's like, why do they have a say? Like, why do they have a say? Yeah, like, pick somebody. Exactly. Like, Okan, you're the leader, and go out there and be the leader of the faction. Like,
and if you fail, you fail, and I think that's part of it, is that like, I mean, with stuff like that, like, guys don't want to be put there are probably guys in that locker room that don't want to be placed too high on the card, because I think either they feel they're not ready for it, or they feel like someone else should be in the spot. And I think there's a lot of that deference being paid that doesn't need to be paid. Just go for it. Where's the next Okada? Where's the next guy who's going to come in on day one and be like, holy cow, this dude's the dude?
Yeah.
Whatever. Oh, cool. Yeah. Okada. Was Okada ever really in Chaos? I don't know, right? Like, he was just like, that's just the banner they put on him. Like, he never cared about Chaos. Like,
right. Now, I feel like they could have had that with Tsuji, when the way he came in, and like, they could have put the belt on him. It felt
like that was the direction.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, I think I fear this is going to be a lost generation. And it's scary to lose another generation, because I mean, what are we working with from the previous generation? Sho and Yo, right? Like,
yeah, not a great tale.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, but like, it's not panning out for them either. Like, and I just, Narita and Yumura and Tsuji, like, there's talent there. I'm missing. Oh, I can't do it right now. But I fear another lost generation, and put the belt on someone, let them run, let them collect some friends, or put that whole generation together and roll with it. Mm-hmm. I think that'd be a cool way to do it too. Start splitting out the factions by when people, came in and are leaving. I think that can be a way to do it, especially since everyone's all together right now anyway. And honestly, that's sort of what the War Dogs are. It's a lot of the LA dojo dudes from that general generation, I think. And look at that unit and how well it's been received. Like, that's a cool way to do it, because you keep everyone together, and then they can play off each other. The personalities end up working out. It's either that, or you gotta give each generation, you gotta give everyone from a generation their own unit. That's the other way to do it. Like, I don't think you need to tiptoe around it. Just like lean into it.
Right. So to kind of close off this segment, is there anything you really want to see going into the second half of 2025?
I mean, I think I just said all of it. Yeah. I mean, that, and of course I want God, I was just looking at the calendar for the G1. I'm fearful of the G1 because I don't think they've got the right buildings. A lot of the buildings aren't available right now. I mean, it's just this really strange period of time in wrestling. The buildings aren't available. They're not doing the finals at Ryogoku. Like, it's gonna feel, and the thing about some of these buildings is that, like, they know what looks good in like, I'm confident in Dominion because they know what looks good in Osaka-cho Hall.
Yeah.
They know how to do the lighting and, like, all of it, the presentation of it all feels different in a building that they're familiar with. And I'm really worried that they're going to end up they're going to end up in a bunch of buildings that they've never been in for the G1, and buildings that aren't necessarily prestigious to pro wrestling. So I'm hopeful that they figure that out and that they bring a freaking lighting rig to some of these shows instead of using the house lights. That's what I want. That's what I want to see from the second half of 2025. I want to see them bring a lighting rig to every show and turn the house lights off and use, stage lighting. That I think would it would make a huge difference to me as someone who, like, pays attention to that and doesn't particularly like watching pro wrestling in gymnasiums that are clearly gymnasiums,
right,
with a basketball hoop in the background. Like, I don't mind watching wrestling like that. I shouldn't say that because indies and other stuff that makes more sense that way, but not my New Japan. It doesn't have
not
to be
a
that way.
Major league promotion.
Yeah,
the number 3 company in the world.
Yeah, like, have some pride, right? Lion, be the lion, be the pride, right?
Where's your
like,
fighting spirit?
Yeah, like, that's what I want to see from New Japan in the second half, as well as everything else I talked about, specifically with the units and some of the young guys getting a shot. But, like, yeah, I mean, I want to see, and hopefully they, maybe they've cleared up some resources. I'm sure some folks have realized there's nothing booked in the US. There's nothing booked outside of Japan for the rest of the year, as far as I know, as far as I can tell. So I think that hopefully that's so that they can retain their resources and use them to the best of their abilities in Japan. So yeah, I think that would make a big difference to the perception of the product too.
Yeah. And we touched on some stuff. I would just say I want to see somebody get hot going into the second half of the year besides Goto. I feel like they have the talent there, and I feel like they just need to give somebody the push. There was a great audio that Joe Lanza did talking about Mercedes Moné's push, and people complaining about her like winning too much. It's like, no, it's a push. And so, like, I want to see somebody outside of the world champion get pushed and, like, follow that person for the rest of the year and kind of culminate in something big at Wrestle Kingdom. And I would love it to be one of the young guys. I mean, right now my fantasy booking is a Tsuji Goto Tokyo Dome title match, and you have Goto run the rest of the year with the title, and Tsuji wins G1, and then you run back that New Japan Cup final matchup with that same energy, that same emotion, and you have Tsuji, win the big one in the Tokyo Dome.
I see. I love that. I would change Tsuji to Uemura, just for the sake of that. That's more of a rocket, I think. Tsuji's had a lot more of a stepped growth. And that's okay. But that to me is so cookie cutter New Japan. The stepped growth thing. And that's okay. At least they're going with someone. It does sort of feel like it's headed that direction with Tsuji losing the final last year and all that. But yeah, I would rather see someone like Uemura, who was starting to get hot when he got hurt, you know, kind of pick up some steam. And then here's what I want. I want the G1 to have someone finish their block, assuming it's 10, 10, and 10. I want someone to finish their block with 16 and someone to finish that same block with 4
yes.
points.
Yeah.
Like, I want the booking to be the definitive.
Yeah, none of this parody stuff we saw in Super Juniors.
If the blocks look like that, I'm going to come on this show and I'm going to ask for a 10-minute rant.
Well, you got it.
One block can look like that. I get it, right? That's fun, right? It's fun to have it, you know, everyone's tight, everyone's in it. You should sort of know that's gonna be how it goes at the beginning, though. You should look at a block and be like, God, I don't know. There's a lot of toss-ups in this. And then that's the parody block. And then there should be one block that you're sort of like, okay, that dude's going through. And
right,
he's going to
like
run
a couple years ago
shot.
with Okada and Ka, where it's like, oh, they're the top 2 guys. And yeah, they just ran through everybody in that block. And that's what you expected.
And
it was exciting.
Jeremy, imagine this. They had a match on the last night of that block. Like, that's how it's... The Super Juniors booking made me so mad. I'm so excited for people to see. My pal Jay Michael is working on a piece for Voices of Wrestling that will inevitably be 80,000 words or more, but just about the booking of the Super Juniors tournament. And he's really analytical about the blocks of tournaments, not necessarily even going into the knockout rounds. I'm excited for people to see that and to have the same hopes that we do about a G1 that it has some strong booking decisions made. Because that's where I go with it, right? I don't want to attach, but that's just, I don't know, man. It feels like this is just kind of what they're doing right now because they're trying to keep everyone just a little happy.
Yeah.
So I want some wrestlers to be pissed about their slot by the end of the year.
You want FIFO Select reports coming out. You know, so-and-so is not happy with their current push in New Japan. Plan on leaving.
I want Voices of Wrestling Patreon reports like that because I don't want to read the grammar that comes out of Fightful Select.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump into Dominion. So this is coming up June 15th this weekend, Osaka Joe Hall. Show will open up. We got Katsuya Murashima and Chomakato taking on Daiki Nagai and Masatora Yasuda. So 4 of the current crop of young lions. We've been seeing these guys doing battle all throughout the year. What are your thoughts on these current crop of young lions?
I mean, I think I'm with everyone else. I think Daiki Nagai is the star. Sort of, you know, he's the standout right now. But it's so hard to tell, obviously, in those situations. You know, I think we see Murashima and Kato side's going to win this match. That's what that feels like based on the pecking order. But
yeah.
And they seem good too, but I don't think anyone has really stood out in the ring. But Nagai's got a personality on him, and is willing to use it, and I think that's cool. So I'm hopeful that that's what happens. You know, I think they probably got to get moving on some of these dudes, right? Like someone's got to go on excursion at some point, and I don't even know what an excursion looks like anymore because of Fujita and Oiwa and what some of that has looked like, but. You know, I think I would like to see some progression from Murashima and Kato for sure. And yeah, they sort of are what they are right now. They're all sort of in the middle of their path up. So like that's a sort of an awkward stage where they haven't necessarily had the opportunity to really, really separate themselves, except if you watch the guys' backstage promos.
Oh yeah,
which are appointment viewing. If you're not watching them, you should get into it.
Yeah, they're great, and yeah, overall, yeah, he's probably I think the collective fan favorite from New Japan fans. I don't know, Shomakato has really been catching my eye lately. I don't know, there's something about what he's been doing in the ring. I really like his Tanahashi match that he had in Korakuen, and he's been teaming up with some of the heavyweight guys. And yeah, I've been feeling he's been looking really good compared to when he first debuted. And so I think he's a guy to keep your eye on out. I think Morishima's been a lot of fun to watch. You know, he's a big dude, and I think they've been starting to let him play into that a little bit more with some of the strikes and chops that he's been doing. So yeah, I think all four of these guys are a lot of fun to watch, and yeah, I want to see some progression coming from them soon and go on an excursion soon. I know that they have some other young lions already in the dojo who can, you know, kind of come up and take their spots. So yeah, I think we need to get the train moving here and get some of these guys going.
Zane Jay's over there now, isn't he?
That's right. Yeah, the former strong survivor.
Yeah. So, and that's cool. I think that's neat. So hopefully he does something interesting. I keep thinking I see him in the background of the shows. So
yeah, he's always around ringside doing young lion duty. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. I think that's exciting though to see someone come over in that type of role. So you know, hopefully he gets in the blue ring soon in Japan. Yeah. So yeah, so I think we're in agreement here. Murashima and Kato will get the win over Guy and Yasuda. So then after that, we'll have House of Tortures, Ren Narita, Sanada, Yujiro, and X taking on the War Dogs team of Chase Owens, Clark Connors, Trill Money, and Taiji Ishimori. And, you know, everybody's asking who's X. Rambo and Slam Pig here says, do we believe X is a defecting War Dog, a surprise debut, a surprise return, or something else? I want it to be Carl Fredericks, but I don't see that happening.
Why don't we see Carl Fredericks happening?
I think a lot of people think that he burned that bridge before he left, and they're not going to ever bring him back. But
yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I saw that all sort of happen, but I don't know if it was like that, right? Like, I don't know. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I don't think it was anything damaging to where they would never bring him back. I mean, look at what happened with TJP and Jeff Cobb, and they still brought TJP in for dates, and
they put a belt on him.
Yeah, and he's going to be a part of the Fantastica Mania New Japan stuff in Mexico, teaming up with United Empire guys. So like clearly, like he's still involved after that whole ugly blow up.
So clearly, it's possible for the booking to say, "This is what you're doing.
You're going to be in United Empire, whether you like it or not."
Tapping into it. Unfortunately, they're only tapping into it TJP, whom I think is a great pro wrestler. Don't get me wrong. So I mean, case in point, it exists. I think Carl would be, to me, the most interesting thing, right? Yeah. Maybe not the most interesting thing, because I guess there's other options. But also, why would he? Why House of Torture, right? Unless they're playing off of all the stuff that happened, and he's Mr. Anti New Japan coming in,
or it's maybe kind of anti the LA Dojo guys. Like you guys didn't have my back during that time. Like y'all cared about yourselves, and maybe kind of turned on that, and he kind of feuds with them throughout the year, and it's like, yeah, I was a standout, but you guys never had my back, or we weren't really friends, that kind of deal.
Yeah, writes itself, actually. There's obviously, I think that would be interesting. I have no idea what else to even guess, honestly. And I haven't poked around at all.
For me, I'm worried about what I think's happening. I've heard a lot of rumors of Chase Owens leaving Bullet Club, and he's working on a new gimmick and getting in shape, and I could see them doing the swerve of, no X comes out for House of Torture, then mid-match Chase, low blows Ishimori, they pin him, Chase switches sides, and he's House of Torture.
That sucks, though.
It does.
I mean, fine. Sure. I've heard about Cowboy Chase Owens. Don't get me wrong. I have heard all about Cowboy Chase Owens. What does a cowboy bring to what bar does the cowboy bring to the ring? Had you heard that? He's working on a cowboy gimmick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But why put him in the match then? Just let him come out. Put someone else in the match.
Well, it's a swerve, bro. They'll never see it coming, bro.
But but we clearly see it coming. I mean, I'd be fine with that because I think the War Dogs are cool. And
Chase is not.
Chase Owens is not. He's just not. I mean, he's just not cool. He's a fine. He's a good hand. Cowboy, House of Torture Cowboy, though. I mean, I don't know. What's the weapon? That's
rope.
What's so important about it.
He can tie people up with a rope, or he can, pull a James Storm, get a beer bottle, hit people over the head with a beer bottle. I
guess that's fine. He could, yeah. But what was his thing? Oh, he had the handcuff, Rambo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Or what? Yeah, it was a Rambo, right?
Yeah. For KOPW or whatever.
Maybe he's just handcuffing people as a cowboy. Doesn't make any sense.
Sounds more like a sheriff, but I guess,
Yeah.
Kind of fits that Western.
Cowboy. Maybe we're all misinformed. Maybe it's a sheriff chase. Yeah. And he can keep doing his little gun thing at the beginning and everything. It's gotta have a little ricochet sound that goes with it. It goes like an old Western.
Yeah.
I hope he's listening. We're writing it for him. I don't know. I think that kind of sucks. Just because I don't like the format of it. I don't mind Chase going to the House of Torture. Like, put him in stuff that I barely watch, barely pay attention to. Like, I'm down with that. Even though, honestly, Chase, he's a good in-ring bell to bell. He gets it done.
Another name people have thrown out, Jake Lee, jumping ship. He's been out with an injury.
That's also weird. I mean, again, it goes back to the faction conversation where it's like, that's all so cookie cutter. But why? Because he's pals with Sonata now?
I don't know. They could pull the old, those guys never checked on me when I was hurt.
I've also heard that Jake's not slated to be back until post G1. But that's not always right. The stuff that gets out there from that type of stuff is not always right. So, I mean, I like Jake Lee more than I like Chase Owens. Neither would hurt my heart though.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with, I always just want to be surprised. I want this. I want anytime there's an X, I want it to be surprising and not, I mean, the precedent is that it's Taguchi. So it's just like, I think every time there's an X, it should be Ryusuke Taguchi.
That would be pretty funny.
just like for a whole year or something. Like, just like every time there's an X, it's Taguchi. It could be so funny.
Yeah.
And House Torture, no one wants to hear this, but that's a comedy group.
Oh,
they're funny. Evil's been
cracking me up lately.
So funny. If you let yourself laugh at them, they're so funny. And when they're slotted as the second match on a card, definitely funny.
Perfect spot.
great spot. Super into the spot. So it's weird. Again, it's also weird that like this match is happening when Evil's in a huge spot in the rest of the later in the card.
Mm-hmm.
So like that I find to be a little bit questionable. Because in theory, Evil is bringing this person in because Evil's the clear leader of that unit. So, I'm trying to think back to anyone who might have been connected to Evil, or if there's anyone that looks like they're jumping. And as I look at the matches or the layout of this match here, like there's two juniors on the other side, on the War Dog side, when in Connors and Ishimori, and there's none on the other side. So I wonder if we're looking at like a junior jump or a junior, someone like Mao or something. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that would be weird, but who knows?
And maybe it's not Evil bringing them in. Maybe it's Sonata or Narita. And maybe there's a connection there that we're missing that could be coming in.
Or Yujiro. Who does Yujiro know? Maybe he's bringing
Miho Abe or what's her face? Not Miho Abe. That's Taichi's girl.
Peter.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah, Peter.
What happened to Peter? All those the valets, as they used to be called, they all stopped during COVID, didn't they?
Yeah,
that's okay. I didn't really need it.
Yeah.
All that to say, Carl Fredericks I think would be neat because I would like to see him back in the New Japan system, even though he went out guns a-blazing. But
yeah, and there's a Narita connection there.
Yep, and it's pro wrestling. People, there's forgiveness in pro wrestling. We know that.
Yeah,
we've seen that from day one. And man, when guys need work, they're apologetic.
Yeah.
Or you handle it like Carl Anderson, who everyone dumps on, but that man has never trashed New Japan.
That man never burns a bridge. He's welcome back in every locker room he's been in. I'm convinced he's the bridge builder. Yeah, and good for him. So yeah, maybe it's Carl Anderson coming into House of Torture. That'd be weird.
That would be weird, but also very funny.
Yeah.
As House of Torture got booted out of Bullet Club, or out of using the Bullet Club branding, Carl Anderson jumps to House of Torture.
Yeah.
I mean, follow the hot hand. Yeah. Sorry. A lot of speculation to say I don't know. I don't know anything.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of, WWE releases the last couple months too. I mean, maybe they could try some of those guys. I don't know. There's a lot of, I guess, creative options they could do.
Is it what's he going by now? Bishop Dyer?
Oh, Bishop Dyer, the former Baron Corbin.
Man, remember everyone losing their mind thinking he was coming in for the New Japan Cup?
Yeah, thinking he was X.
And then nothing happened. Nothing. So, man, what a spot for him. I don't know if he's better than that or not good enough for that. I'm really not sure. Give me Braun Strowman in the House of Torture,
doing his choo-choo train thing around the ring.
Yes.
fits
Honestly, though, as a comedy heel, he could probably nail it. No, I don't think any of those dudes are getting out of bed for that spot.
Yeah. So
maybe. I mean, an NXT release. I mean, hey, Carl Fredericks feels like the most likely option, but who knows? It feels so out there.
Yeah. So we'll see what they end up doing here. Hopefully, it's not my idea of the chase sling, and it is somebody else. Following that, we're gonna have El Phantasmo and Shota. Actually, before we do that, are you saying War Dog or House of Torture probably winning with the X?
I think when someone brings X, they're usually the winner.
Yeah.
I don't have a data point for that. It just it feels like that's what it should be.
Right, yeah. So then next up, El Phantasmo and Shota Umino taking on the TMDK team of Roy Oiwa and Zack Sabre Jr. So we saw some of this play out on the final night of Best of Super Junior, and it looks like Oiwa was kind of calling out ELP for the TV title, and also there's a lot of history with Zack and Umino from the Tokyo Dome and some of their matches and rivalry the past year as well. I also think these are two teams that could potentially be tag challengers going forward as well. So I think a lot could come from this matchup.
Yeah. ELP is sort of, it feels like they're trying to create the perception that ELP and Shota are taking each other under their wings. So maybe there's a unit there to be started at least. I think maybe the winner of this match I think that's a good shout, though. The winner of this match challenges for the tag titles. Maybe not after the tag title match, but they can, make the belt motion and go from there. I'm interested. I'm always interested to see Zack and ELP mix it up in the ring, because I do think they're both great pro wrestlers. And I know that they've got they have a good working relationship. And they both have a really important or really, well-perceived role in the locker room in New Japan. So I think whenever they get a chance to mix it up in the ring, I think it usually delivers. So, and I think that they're both, they have totally different styles, but they're both very interesting pro wrestlers in their own ways. So, and then Umino and Oiwa are adjacent on the generational shift here. Oiwa's a little behind Umino, but he's I think he's got a better trajectory right now.
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is one right win, and he's lapping Umino.
Right. And I part of me wonders if this is a chance for Umino. Umino pins Oiwa, and they're gonna keep trying to establish Umino as a dude. And I think all the guys in the ring with him are there's some company men in the ring in this match. So we'll see what that ends up looking like. So curious where it goes though. Like, what's the point of this match versus that's not just to get him on the card.
Yeah, and we did have a question here from Def Triangle 720. Do you think we finally see some turns from Shota or anyone else to form a new group at Dominion?
Probably not. I think only because you've got X coming into House of Torture. I think like that's the roster move. They usually don't. I wish they would, but they usually don't like double up on that stuff on one show. Shota is Shota turning a turn even? Like who turning on who right now? El Phantasmo? Like what big feelings come from that? I mean, I love ELP, don't get me wrong. But like, and he does sort of represent Hantai at a generally high level, but I think, Umino turning has to happen on Goto, Tanahashi, like one of the big deal dudes. If Umino turns on El Phantasmo as his way to leave Hantai, you can slot that unit, right next to Comedy House of Torture. I don't think that would be a good move.
Yeah, it seems too early in the night for some kind of crazy turn, especially after the X in the previous match. So yeah, I don't think this will be the night that Umino turns. And yeah, if he is going to turn on ELP, I think they need to establish that relationship a little bit more. I think they have been doing a little bit lately, but I think they should be like teaming. I would like, if they're going to turn, like team for like 6 months to a year to really build up that kind of camaraderie and friendship and make a turn meaningful. Like right now, like you mentioned, it wouldn't be very impactful for him to turn on ELP and do his own thing. So yeah, I don't think a turn is coming from him yet.
No, not yet. I think eventually. I hope eventually. Geez, they gotta do something.
I don't know. I feel like they are just going to keep, Roman reigning this guy, 2015 style. Like we're just gonna keep pushing him as a babyface, whether you like it or not, and we'll keep repackaging and retrying and give him all the shots in the world. But we're gonna stick to our guns and make him top face.
Oh, it absolutely feels that way. And then he'll get over when he finally turns heel. Like that's maybe that's the blueprint. Because if they play it from the inside out and say, okay, like we're gonna make it look like we're just gonna keep putting you in that spot, and then eventually you're gonna turn and people are gonna love it. Like there's a blueprint for that. It works. Mm-hmm. So if that's the end game, good on them. I don't think that's the right path. But listen, I don't think anything they've done with Shota Umino has been the right path.
Yeah.
So I'm fearful of Umino in the G1.
Yeah.
I said I wanted someone to end with 16 points.
Be careful what you wish for.
There's got to be an asterisk there. Yeah. Oh man.
So you think ELP and Umino are winning this one?
I think so. I think the likely finish is either Umino on Oiwa, which would depress me a little bit, or if they're going to go with the TMDK side for whatever reason, if they're challenging for the tags or something like that, because Oiwa and Zach would make more sense to challenge for the tag titles than El Phantasma and Umino, but I don't know. It's a little more, I'm 70-30 that I think El Phantasmo and Umino win, because I do think they're just going to keep trying to establish Umino. And Oiwa he's a guy that can produce, but he's not in a spot where he can't take a loss. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm seeing Oiwa pinning ELP to set up a TV title match on the New Japan Soul tour.
That's fair. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Or Zach.
Yeah.
Put Zach back in the TV title land. That feels, misguided also, but that was a great run.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably the best TV champion in history.
Not even close.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Not even close. That was a great run.
Yeah. So following that, we have Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Yuya Uemura. So this is a connection match on Tanahashi's final road. They've had one singles match with Tanahashi getting the win there. What are your thoughts on this connection match up here with the Ace and the Heat Storm?
How many singles matches do you think Hiroshi Tanahashi has had in Osaka-jo Hall?
I would think like 9 or 10.
4.
Really?
Right? Same, right? That's why I brought it up, because I saw it and I was like, that can't be. What data am I missing? He's only had 4 singles matches in Osaka-jo Hall, which feels crazy to me.
Yeah, that seems so weird.
One was in 2015 at Dominion when he beat Toriano. And then he had an intercontinental match with Naito in 2017 at Osaka-jo Hall. And then at Castle Attack 2021, he fought Great Khan. And then in 2022, he had the AEW World Title Eliminator match against Goto. So Tanahashi's never really been in super featured matches in Osaka-jo Hall. So, and most of that's Dominion, right? And it just kind of, that to me, when I'm thinking, I was thinking why would that be the case? And it's sort of like Tanahashi always peaks for Wrestle Kingdom. Mm-hmm. So the middle of the year, Osaka-jo Hall season, ultimately most of the New Japan shows that have happened in Osaka-jo Hall are Dominion, right? There's been a couple of New Beginning era shows that have happened, or time frame shows, but most of it's Dominion. And Tanahashi is just he's usually at a lower point of his kind of cycles during the Dominion run. So but I was stunned when I pulled it up and I was like, 4? He's 4-0, so he's got that going for him. Yeah. But yeah, I was shocked. I mean, the most is Naito and Okada. They both have wrestled in 10 singles matches in Osaka-jo Hall. So, but yeah, you would think Tanahashi would be right there.
Right up there, yeah.
Pretty much every other venue in New Japan, Tanahashi's right at the top of the list of number of singles matches in the venues they run consistently, or the bigger rooms. So, he's rarely in a top spot, and this is obviously not that either. This is not a top spot either. So, cool match. I'm super excited for it. I think Uemura is sort of the most likely sort of extension of Tanahashi style wrestler of that generation. So I love that this match is happening in my personal favorite building to see New Japan in. I think Osaka-jo Hall is gorgeous from, the presentation standpoint. And it's obviously some great, memories of watching big matches in Osaka-jo Hall, right? Yeah. I mean, the best of all time. And one of the matches that really ingrained New Japan into my life. So, so I'm excited for this match. Tanahashi has been showing up pretty good for some of these younger talent matches that he's had. I'm really excited to see what they end up doing with it. I think the styles will match pretty well because Uemura is a little more ground based, and he's not fast, but he's not slow. I mean, he's really right in that sweet spot for me. I love watching Uemura wrestle. So my feel on it is I'm hopeful that Uemura wins and it puts him in a position to do some cool stuff. But I mean, they're only, I think, what was that? And it was in 21. They wrestled on Kazuna Road, which was probably Uemura's kind of singles path out, right?
Yeah, I think that might have been his farewell match or one of those.
I think his farewell was Okada, but it was right in that same range, right?
Yeah.
So, because it was at Cork, and I think it was a double shot at Cork, and I think he did Tanahashi, Okada, and it might have been Tsuji that they flip flopped with. So so I'm excited. I mean, Tanahashi's working his ass off this year. It's really incredible.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, he's given all he's got in this last year. He's wrestled 55 matches already this year, which is sort of insane.
That's crazy.
it's the most in New Japan right now, for 2025.
That's nuts.
So
and to think like how many singles matches he had this year is probably a crazy number too.
Yeah, I don't actually have year-to-date singles pulled, but I mean, in the last 365, he's had 16. So I mean, that's here. I can get it actually really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think 13 of them are singles.
That's a lot. Like if you think of like the New Japan schedule.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's 1, 2, 3. So yeah, okay. Let's just talk about them. Evil, Shibata. Count that for what you will. Shomakato, Murashima, Nagai, Makabe, Goto, Kojima, Shingo, Taguchi, Umino, Takeshita, Cobb, Yasuda, Zach. So I think that might have been even more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, 15. He's had 15 singles matches this year.
That's insane.
and I mean, rumor has it he's doing the G1.
Right, you would think you would want to market Tanahashi's last G1 ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's so many matches.
Dude,
I mean, I get it.
His knees are screaming.
Like if anyone thinks he's swerving and not retiring as of 1/4, like I got some data to point to. Like,
his body is going to be so thankful come 1/4.
Yeah, 1/5. He's going to wake up and be like, I never have to do that shit again. I love it, but I'm dying. Yeah, man, that's wild. I mean, and just like making 55 towns for that matter. He's showing up. The man's showing up for his company. I'll give him that. And some of these bigger matches he has kind of tapped into vintage Tanahashi. So I am really hopeful for like 12 minutes of really great stuff from these two.
Yeah. And I think we're probably going to see Uemura getting the win.
You would think. That seems to be the status quo on these types of matches.
Yeah, he's been using his version of a frog splash, more of the D'Lo Brown low down version. He can get the big win with that and kind of establish him as a new frog splash person in New Japan and kind of carry the torch of Tanahashi moving forward.
It's got to come up with a name for it.
Yeah,
because what's it? Oh, the Heat is his finish the Heat Storm?
No, his finish the deadbolt soup.
The deadbolt suplex.
Deadbolt,
Yeah. Just called the Heat Storm then. That's what they're all doing, right? They all just make their finish their nickname.
Yeah. Or the Heat Splash.
Heat Splash. Oh, it's kind of like a Gene Blast.
Yeah. Well, Tsuji's his rival, you know?
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
Oh man.
Moving on.
Yeah, so next up we have IWGP Junior Tag Team Title match. Master Wato and Yo will be defending against the House of Torture team of Sho and Yoshinobu Kanemaru. So we talked about Yo being in Super Junior Finals, failing to win that tournament, but him and Wato had beat Ichiban Sweet Boys right before the tournament, so this is going to be their first title defense, and we saw that kind of get set up in the last nights with some multi-man stuff. So, yeah.
Feels like a way to get like the juniors on the card because they're not doing the title match or the singles title match. I'm not excited for this. And I like Watto generally. I loved his best Super Junior run a couple of years ago. But I think both he and Yo are both very cold. I'm not sure why they're the champions here. It's another one of those, duos that need something more interesting to do, I think. But the juniors don't usually start a faction. So they're just going to be part of Hantai as the junior tag champs against House of Torture. I hope it's quick.
Yeah, I would have loved, Ichiban Sweet Boys, saving this, Catch 2-2, Jet Setters, somebody.
Such a good division. I mean, such an underrated good division. The junior tag division, and right now the wrong champions, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I guess Watto and Yo will retain.
I think, but I mean, whatever. You can never count out House of Torture. They don't have any. They're the trios titles, don't they?
Yeah.
So they're probably not going to double that up.
Yeah, unless it's going to be
who knows?
This could be a House of Torture night with X and this match and Evil.
I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think Watto and Yo will retain here.
Yeah, I think they retain. At least they usually give one retention. So,
yeah.
Yo was just in the finals.
Yeah.
You got to keep that going. I think. I don't care.
Death Triangle 720 says, in your opinions, do you think the gap between the importance of the junior tag division and heavyweight division has changed over the years? We've had more consistency with the juniors and the heavyweight tag division from a story and in-ring perspective.
I feel like the junior tag division like banded together and was like, let's do that thing that this division has always done, which is just like have really heated, exciting matches, even if there's not a ton of like story behind them. Not including any of the four wrestlers in this match. So yes, in general, I agree. I think that the junior tag division is more interesting and consistent, but I've sort of felt that way about the junior booking as a whole up until this Best of Super Juniors, which I've already trashed enough. That just the junior booking has had some steady inclines from some wrestlers, and then some guys that are just sort of like that you can pepper in and can hit the mark. And that includes the tag division. So
yeah.
So yes, I agree.
Yeah, I would say as a whole, I mean, both tag divisions are not really seen as super important in the whole New Japan landscape. I do feel like the junior tag titles over the years have always kind of been the higher quality, at least higher match quality between the heavyweight tags. You think back to Young Bucks and Roppongi Vice and Roppongi 3K and Red Dragon. There's so many great junior tag teams that have come and gone throughout the years. And I always feel like every once in a while they just get that good set of teams that they just, you mentioned, like they band together and they get these, these great rivalries and 4-ways and 3-ways and great 2-on-2 matches. And then the heavyweight division, I feel like there's always, I feel like a long period between before we get a really great champion. Like, we had Dangerous Techers, and then since then it's like Ambition Model. Besides those two teams in a while, it's like who's really been like a standout heavyweight tag team. Before that, you had like Killer Elite Squad and G.O.D.
Wasn't it just always G.O.D.?
Yeah.
It's like the only champion I can think of for like the 19 to maybe 18 to 22.
Yeah, I think Evil and Sonata might have had a reign in there at some point.
Oh, I'm sure they had like 4, but none that you would remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think the junior tag title actually is the best defined of like the 3 tag titles that New Japan has, including the trios title. It's just like the dudes just like honor that title the way they can. So I don't have a lot of hope for House of Torture to do that, but that's sort of their bit. So
yeah,
put Watto and Yo in there with I don't know, any of the teams that were in Junior Tag League that are not House of Torture.
Do Ichiban Sweet Boys rematch.
Always. I mean, Robbie Eagle's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and Fujita is so good. So, I was hopeful that them losing the title meant Fujita or Eagles was gonna, make a hell of a run or win the Super Junior. So at least they got the winner right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Then
it's also it's always weird to see this title not as like the first or second match of a show.
Yeah, that is really weird.
That's where I want this title to live. Like, not in a bad way. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like not as like the curtain jerker, but as the heat up match. And this feels a little more like a Calm Before the Storm type match.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Then following that, we'll have the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team title match. United Empire, Callum Newman and Great Okan defending against Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii.
See, I love that Ishii Taichi team. They feel like the next great tag team to me if they let it be. That I could really get behind that. But it does feel sort of random.
Well, and that's the one great thing that's come from like Hantai and Chaos all mashing up. You do have the ability to create some new teams and people who may have not teamed before. And so, random Ishii Taichi team has been awesome. I love the interactions with Taichi and Callum Newman in the multi-man build-up to this match. They were getting in each other's face and I think Taichi and Ishii gel really well together. That match they had against Hiromu and Naito was awesome on Naito's closing stretch there. I think it's a really solid team.
Yeah, unfortunately, history's not on their side here. Ishii and Taichi are a combined 8-17 in Osaka-jo Hall. It's not good, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So, and that's overall with all matches included, not just tags or not just singles or anything. That's every match they've wrestled in. So, yeah, Ishii's 5-9 and Taichi's 3-8 in Osaka-jo Hall. So, history not on their side, but they've never teamed together.
True.
In this, so maybe that's what it takes. So I love that team. I would love for them to get a little run, just running through cool matches, and then turn on each other and have a feud or whatever. Like just do the classic, the classic thing and let them fight each other for the strong title on Wrestle Kingdom or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Is this Newman and Okan's first defense?
Yeah, I think so. Because they won it right before
in Dantaku, right?
I'm almost positive it is.
Yeah, because that would have been in May, and then would have gone right into Super Juniors.
Right into Super Juniors. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. So, yeah, I mean, and I know, Newman showed up for that title match, that singles title match. So, it's their first defense. I'm verifying. So, and Okan, I love him most of the time, but he doesn't always hit. So we'll see. I don't mind that team as the tag champs. I really don't. I think that there's some interesting stuff they can do with it. I'm just really down on United Empire right now. Partially because the someone peeled back the curtain. And Jeff Cobb's over there losing to Jimmy Uso or one of the Usos. I don't know.
Yeah. JC Mateo, sir.
Sorry. Jesus. Oh my God. My bad. My bad. I forgot they need to own the IP of someone's name. Yeah. So, it's just kind of odd times for United Empire, but I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. So,
yeah,
I'm down with either team here.
Yeah, I'd be happy with either or. I mean, I would love to see Ishii and Taichi, but yeah, with it being the first defense, and I think they're trying to get something going with Newman, I could see them retaining.
Yeah.
Death Triangle 7.
I mean, yeah, it really does. It does sort of keep Newman busy too.
Yeah. Death Triangle 720 asks, if Taichi and Ishii win the tag title and hold it till Wrestle Kingdom 20, what story would you like to see with them?
I already said I want them to hold it until like Power Struggle, and then have a Power Struggle, and split up, and then get a cool 12 to 15 minute third from the bottom match on Wrestle Kingdom, never open weight style match, or have Taichi win the never title somehow, and have Ishii hold the strong title, and then combine them at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, unify.
That'd be cool.
The undisputed open weight champion.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that writes itself. Give me that.
I love that.
Or they can somehow Taichi gets the never title, Ishii holds that strong title and never defends it because it only happens in America or whatever. And then they could even still be tag champs and do that at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
Or on the road to or something. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Just like an honorable battle for the open weight championship. Because what are they going to do with these strong titles right now? Like they're not running in America anymore.
Yeah, I think there's a reason why they got the women's off of Mercedes because
yep. That was, I mean, as far as I know, that was Mercedes' last date with New Japan. Like she had finished that, she was finishing up her dates, so they got the title off her, and no one wants to talk about it. Like it's just the run is over, and they did it in a 3-way, and we all saw it coming, and that was it. So yeah, but I mean, they need to. It's another one of those things. It's like, the meme where the stick figure's got a stick and he's poking something. It just says do something.
Do something. Yeah.
There's so many of those moments right now with New Japan where you're like, I'm the guy with the stick, and I'm just like, just do something. Just any of it. Just like do one of them. One of the things. Combine the titles. Get rid of something. Don't add a title. The last thing you need to do is add a title. So,
yeah.
But there's a lot of these titles that cross over, especially with the US stuff. I mean, all the US or the strong titles are all open weight. Just combine them with something. Pick one of them.
Yeah, I think you could unify strong never. You can unify the tag titles with the heavyweight tag titles. You can unify the women's titles
with the IWGP. Yeah. Like I think, and I would be very pleased if they went that direction, but someone in the room's got to make a decision.
Yeah.
And that seems hard.
Yeah.
Close your eyes and imagine what you'll look like 6 months from now. How's your hair look? The same? Now picture how your hair would look if you started using Hims. If you're picturing the same you as before, but with much thicker and fuller hair, you'd be correct. What can happen in 3 to 6 months? You could pick up a new hobby and get not that good at it yet. You could do about half of your New Year's resolution. You could learn a few songs on the piano or pick up bass guitar. Or you could start seeing thicker, fuller hair regrowth through Hims. Not bad for just 3 to 6 months. Men, if you're starting to notice your hair thinning when you look in the mirror, you're not alone. Life just gets busier and busier, and it can feel like there's not enough time in the day to do something about it. So, try Hims Hair Loss Solutions. You can avoid jumping through a bunch of frustrating hoops and get access to treatment without even leaving your home. Hims provides you with the convenient access to a range of hair loss treatments that work, all from the comfort of your couch. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients, like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. Choose from personalized chewable, oral, spray, and serum treatments to find what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online, so there are no uncomfortable doctor visits. Answer a few questions and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to you for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, and they can help you get your confidence back too with visibly thicker and fuller hair. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Hail Mary. That's HIMS.com/Hail Mary for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/Hail Mary. Results may vary based on studies on topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with the healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Kind of answer this. MJ said, "What would you do with the tag titles? Keep them on the young guys, or give Taichi and Ishii a run?"
I think push come to shove, I'd give Taichi and Ishii a run. That sounds fun.
Yeah, and I think those two guys killing it every night. Like, you can do some really great Korakuen main events with those guys.
Honestly, imagine this match in Korakuen. That'd be sick.
Yeah, that would have been great. Yeah,
like a Korakuen, one of the Korakuen main events. I love a tag team title match main event at Korakuen. They're always good, and you know, some of that was established by like Bishamon, but yeah. And Taichi and Korakuen is hot,
and so is Ishii. Yeah,
yeah.
Like
obviously,
the two kings of Korakuen on a team together. Yeah.
God, team up Yoshihashi with someone else and just have them just do a best of 7 series at Korakuen, just every Korakuen show.
That'd be cool.
That'd be one way to get the heavyweight tag titles over again. I mean, they go in waves, I guess. There've been a couple of good runs recently, but I think push come to shove, I would. But I really thought Newman showed up for that title match with Goto, so I'm excited to see what he can do here.
Yeah, same.
So I could go either way on it.
Yeah. So following that, we'll have the never openweight title match. Konosuke Takeshita will defend against Boltin Oleg. So these guys have been having some really great matches. They had a match in G1 last year, which also Takeshita won. Actually, no, Bolton won that match, right?
Yeah, Bolton won. Yeah,
Bolton won that. That was the upset win. And then they had a match earlier this year where Takeshita won. So yeah, they're 1-1 since the rubber match here. And yeah, the G1 match was really good, but I felt like the rematch that they had earlier this year was really awesome. So Bolton's been improving a lot, and it's been really shaping up. And I think this matchup should be another great one.
Yeah, I agree. These guys, whatever the chemistry these guys have is really great. The never title, it usually bounces around a lot more than it does, and it's on Takeshita right now, and Takeshita is a very protected wrestler, and that's okay. Like, he should be. And I don't think that's via AEW. I actually think that's via New Japan.
Yeah.
I think that's via New Japan seeing this guy as a guy that if they can get him to stay or be, or prioritize New Japan for whatever reason or however they make that happen, I think they want him to come in as a god tier guy. And I want that. I want that.
Yeah, I think we all want that.
Yeah, well, everyone wants that. I think my confidence in New Japan would be a little bit. It would be very high if I knew that was kind of the path. And I have some hope that that's the case. So give him the strongest never openweight title run in history, and then at least you got something to fall back on when you need to. Mm-hmm. Or when you have the chance to do it. So, but the never title hasn't changed hands in Osaka-jo Hall since 2022 when Carl Anderson beat Tama Tonga in the least exciting match of all time. So, we'll see. But it's 4 out of 10. It's changed hands in Osaka-jo Hall. So that's a pretty good ratio, actually, for a chance for something surprising to happen. But I mean, that's the other thing, is that Oleg is a surprising dude. He's a guy that can, They have given him some surprise victories. I don't necessarily see this as a chance for one, but it would be cool. It's a way, and especially if you got Takeshita coming in for the G1, you want to set him up for something bigger. I think there's a chance.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Bolton's gonna win here, just because they
Do
did.
You?
Yeah, they did the title match in Osaka in February, and Takeshita won. So why beat him twice in 1 year with the same title? I say run back the G1 upset, have him get Takeshita up on his shoulders, hit that kamikaze, and get the win. I think that's the exciting thing to do, and really make Bolton. And then you have Bolton, never champion. You do something with him, and then that frees up Takeshita.
Yeah,
to maybe get to G1 finals,
win the G1. That'd be sick. Honestly, if you're putting Takeshita in G1 this year, you probably have to put him in the final at least.
Yeah,
and there's no reason not to. I don't think there's any reason not to. I'm down with your plan. Don't get me wrong. I think I'm feeling a touch pessimistic. I don't think I'm JCast pessimistic yet, but I'm a touch pessimistic. But yeah, I'm in. I'm on your side. That sounds great. Who would have thunk that Oleg would be the dude that gets like kind of the best push of that kind of young group?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he rocks. I mean, why not? He should be.
Oh yeah. He's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. It's just like you didn't see it coming is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But
I think everybody's focused on your Tsujis and your Unos and Umoras. Like, they totally. Yeah, he was slow and steady and just kind of steadily worked his way up, and now he's here. Man, that match with Takeshita in the G1 rocked too. Yeah.
So
and the Osaka match this year.
The Osaka match too. Yeah.
So, it was awesome. So great chemistry. Yeah. Takeshita really knows how to work with him. Yeah.
Maybe I wonder if Takeshita, as we've been talking about all night, like the wrestlers have a say. I wonder if he was like, they were like, who do you want to take the title off of you? And he was like, Oleg. And I'd be like, that. If that's what happened. If Oleg wins, I'm gonna put into my brain that that's what happened, and I'm gonna make sure that gets out there, because I feel like that would just get Takeshita like even more over with the fan base. So, I mean, he's already over with me, but yeah, cool. I'm down. Yeah. I'm down with it. I don't agree. I still think they're gonna keep going with Takeshita. There's a lot that goes into Takeshita taking a loss, but it'd be in a big spot, and maybe Tony Khan really likes Oleg too.
Not too much.
About that.
Another question for Death Triangle 720: do you think Bolton will beat Takeshita in order for him to potentially challenge the world champion later on?
Oh, Takeshita failing up?
Yeah.
Sure. I don't think you put Takeshita in a title match until he's going to win it.
Yeah, I mean, if you did that, I think, he would have to win.
Yeah, he's established enough that at this point, once you put him in a title match, it's either got to be someone who he's going to have like a generational feud with, or Takeshita's winning.
Yeah. And
I think Takeshita should... I think the most interesting thing to do if you want to put the title, or you feel comfortable putting the title on Takeshita, is to have him win the G1 and just put him in the Wrestle Kingdom main event. Just go for it. Like, why not? I mean, you put Amino in it last year.
It's only up from there, right?
It can't get worse.
Yeah, and I think Takeshita Goto, there's a compelling story there you can do.
Yeah, I'm talking myself into Takeshita winning the G1. It sounds crazy, but he's dual contract, right?
Yeah, he has a
triple contract.
Yeah, he has 3 logos on his nameplate.
Yeah, and obviously with the Yano show today, everyone's palling around with DDT again. So just run it up. Let's go.
Yeah,
give him all the titles.
Let's do it.
What's Takeshita up to in AEW right now? I forget.
Nothing really. He's just been kind of having like random Don Callis family trios matches with like Josh Alexander and Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he lost the international to Kenny, and then since then he's just kind of been chilling.
Maybe they're clearing him up to do something neat in Japan. That'd be cool. That could get people to shut up about the relationship, the situationship.
Yeah, that'd be big.
It won't. That would. It would be huge.
Yeah,
we'll see. I like your plan. Let's go with your plan.
Next up, dog collar death match. Evil versus David Finlay. So this rivalry has been pretty much going on all year long of House of Torture and Bull Club War Dogs. We thought the dog pound cage match was gonna be the blow off. Nope. they kept on going, and also this builds from Evil choking out Finlay with the dog collar at the end of that match, and then we had the angle with Gato getting choked out by the collar by Evil on the Best Super Junior finals show. So yeah, a lot of heat here between these two guys and two heels, I guess. I mean, Finlay, I guess when he's facing Evil, he's not a heel. I don't know.
I think Finlay's still the most heel-leaning war dog.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. I love a dog collar match. I love a death match. I don't know what a dog collar death match is. Like why does the death part need to be in there? Dog collar matches are sort of that. I think Finlay's so smart that like I have such confidence that this is going to be amazing. Honestly, like legitimately, he's really on it when it comes to these big matches and like the psychology behind them and like getting people to buy into whatever the story of the match is. And he's really just on a good run there. So give him a stip and a hot match. Well, whatever, a heated feud, if nothing else. This has to be the blow off. I think, they're going to give House of Torture at least one moment early in the night with X coming in. I think you're going to see some run-ins and things of the sort, or something's going to happen in either that match or the junior title match, probably that match, probably the X match, where somebody sort of gets written out of the night. And because you sort of have, with a match like this, you sort of have to plausibly eliminate guys running in from one side or the other, probably. Either that, or you're just going to have this big schmaz in the middle, and eventually, that clears out and they finish it on their own. And I guess that's fine too. But, so yeah, I think whatever happens in that, undercard tag early in the night will sort of potentially could inform what's going to happen here. Because if X is someone cool, like really cool, or really interesting, then I could see X having a role in this match.
Right, like helping Evil win or something like that. Yeah,
helping Evil win or trying to help Evil win. Or if there's some sort of previous relationship with David Finlay, I don't know what that would be or who that would be.
Juice Robinson?
Well, I was just going to say it too, but I was like, I don't think that's it. I don't know. I hear Hikuleo's not up to much.
Old Talatonga.
It's been JCast posted it's been a year since his last match.
Yeah.
As of today. So
he really needs to learn where the hard cam was. He's been having a hard time with that. So
just can't figure out how to be the tall guy in WWE, which I don't know. Seems like the best role to have in WWE.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have some confidence that this is going to be pretty good. If only because I think it's a match style that should lend itself pretty well to both of these guys' strengths. So, how are they doing the stip though? Is it just? It's not a strap match, right? It's
I think
dog collar.
They're going to be chained together, and I can see the whole thing of like Finlay getting the chain on first, and Evil jumps him and like.
Yeah. I mean,
walks him around, and then they finally put the chain on him. But Yeah, it should be. I think it's kind of hard to screw up a dog collar match, so I think it should be pretty violent and hard hitting, stiff matchup. Of course, there'll be shenanigans and stuff like that, but I think it should end up being a really good blow off. I don't know who you go with the winner here, because I feel like House of Torture's kind of been on the losing side of this feud. They lost the dog pound cage match, so Evil losing.
But they're gonna win earlier.
Yeah, but
they're
I feel
probably
like
gonna
Evil's
win.
lost a lot this year.
I probably have that. Probably have that right here. Last 365, he's 7-7. But he's lost. Let's see, this year he lost to Tanahashi, 0-1. He beat Tsuji 1-1. Finley beat him by count out, so that might be important here.
Yeah.
Obviously he beat Goto and lost to Tsuji, so he's pretty 50-50. That all lines up. But Finley beat Evil by count out, second round in New Japan Cup. Well, how does that play in here? How does a count out play in here? That's interesting.
Yeah,
maybe it doesn't.
Because it depends. Like there should be no count outs in a.
No, I'm reading on the English website. It says no DQ, pinfall, match only ending by pinfall, submission, or knockout. So I wonder if they do a big walk and brawl around the stadium or around the Osaka-jo Hall.
I can see that.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I do want. That's a pretty high spot on the card. I wonder how much time this gets.
Yeah, I could see it getting 20 minutes.
20, 25.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they do a knockout finish to kind of play off the count out and the person getting knocked out with the count out.
It feels like you should do some sort of brutal ending. Knockouts are so rare for like a single knockout. I know the double knockout's sort of a trope, but I don't know. I don't know who you have win this one. Probably, I would give it to Finley because it's a dog collar match, right?
Yeah.
Dog, war dog. But I don't know if that really matters.
Just for my personal preference, I would want Finley to win and do something.
Yeah, because then, what does it mean, right? Like this person who wins this, where are they going, right? Like what are they?
Yeah. Well, it's not really much to do because there's going to be New Japan Soul and then G1. So unless Finley's going to challenge a champion at during the Soul Tour, like I guess it doesn't really, technically matter who wins here.
Yeah, it doesn't have to lead to something. I just always think that it might, right?
Normally it does.
Yeah. I think Finley wins here. That's just my gut. I think Finley wins here. He's lost 2 in a row, singles matches. He lost to Goto and Sabre. So I think Sabre at Windy City Riot, which was like the strangest match.
Yeah. So he's probably due for a big singles win.
Yeah, before that though, he had 5 wins in a row. 1, 2, 3, 5. So but still, I think Finley's more due for it than Evil. So I'm picking Finley.
Yeah, same. Well, that brings us to the semi-main event, the IWGP Global Heavyweight Title match. Gene Blast, Yota Tsuji will defend against war-ready Gabe Kidd. And we talked about it earlier, the great match that they had in New Beginning in Osaka. So I'll see a lot of history here with these guys from the dojo days and pretty heated rivalry. Great stuff from New Beginning Osaka. Not really much follow-up since then. And then we had Gabe Kidd coming out to challenge Tsuji a couple months ago to set up this matchup here. Since then, Gabe Kidd showed up in AEW, aligned himself with Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. There's been a lot of online chatter and kind of a divisive topic in the fan base on does this diminish Gabe Kidd's character? Does this hurt should they end the partnership? And there's been a lot of back and forth on this whole thing, and where this puts Gabe Kidd going forward. Is he just leaving the company? And I think a lot of people were really invested in the whole I am Shinihon, screw WWE, screw AEW. It's all about New Japan. Chris, what have been your thoughts on the whole Gabe Kidd AEW excursion and how that plays into this match?
My only issue with it was that it really didn't. It was a really roundabout way to align with what's been happening in Japan. But I don't know. I don't have strong feelings about it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't have strong feelings about like, oh, he's abandoning us. Like I get it. Like Gabe is the voice of this segment of the fan base, like the vocal segment of the fan base. And then he pops up in AEW, but like during Best of Super Junior season, like this man wasn't up to anything.
Right.
Like he's not booked on the undercards, so it's not like he bailed. Yes, it's a continuity error. For a company that's supposed to have a continuity expert. So that's annoying. It's annoying. I think that's the right word for me. Like it was annoying. And not the discourse. Discourse is fine. People have feelings. But like it's annoying that they didn't, that we're in a situation where we have to talk about, the continuity error when it comes down to it, that like, there's no reason why, Gabe Kidd would show up and do what he did in the New Japan world, right? In the AEW world, it does sort of make sense. Like he teamed with the Death Riders. The Death Riders hate AEW. That's their whole bit.
Right.
Gabe Kidd hates AEW. That's kind of his whole bit, right? Like, so there's some alignment there. And I think like on the surface, if you look at the stories of both sides of that, Gabe and the Death Riders, like they do add up. But when you bring in sort of the work shoot world, or I guess the shoot world, if you think Gabe was shooting when he's talking about hating AEW and being Shin Nihon and showing up with the lion mark on his shorts or his tights or whatever, like if you felt like that was the real Gabe Kidd, and that's what wrestlers are. I think a lot of times wrestlers forget, and the cool thing about Gabe Kidd is he hasn't forgotten that that's what wrestlers are supposed to do. They're supposed to get you to believe that this is the actual version of this person.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to turn and wink at the camera and be like, ha, like, I know that this is all fake and silly.
It's all part of the show. Are you enjoying it? That's the all Paul Levesque line.
I'm not, Paul. I'm not. Also, you're full of shit, but that's a whole nother thing. So if I love getting worked because I'm a little bit inside, right? I'm just a touch inside the door. I can hear from the outside of the door, right? Like
you got a foot in the door.
I don't know if I've got a foot.
Maybe a toe.
I think I've got my ear to the floor by the bottom of the door where there's that little gap. I love to get worked, and I love recognizing when I'm getting worked too. And I think that there are some people, the loudest of the loudest in the discourse are people who don't want to be worked. They want to be on the inside. They want to know everything. They want to know what's real, what's not. And they all believed, or a lot of those folks believed, that everything Gabe was saying was truly what Gabriel Kidd from England, wherever the hell he's from, like that person believes, not the character Gabe Kidd, right? Mm-hmm. So y'all got worked, brother. And that's okay. Like it's cool. But also like don't get mad. But then you also can't then be the person that says the other side of it, which is like, oh, well, he wasn't booked on Best of Super Juniors because the Super Junior Tour, it's a Junior Tour, so you just want to go get paid, or you want to hang out with some girl or whatever,
yeah,
you can't have both, right? So I choose to want to get worked, but with that, I care a lot about the stories that are being told, right? But I don't have strong feelings again about the strongest feeling is that I don't think anyone should care as much as they've cared about this situation. Because I think people are going to form their opinions about the reasons that Gabe showed up in AEW and did what he did. And then he wasn't even in the match, which sucked. I think that's the part that sucked, is that they didn't even just like throw him in as like the 7th dude in the match.
Right. Yeah.
And then he had to do this like convoluted run in during what ended up being a really fun Anarchy in the Arena. I mean, I had a blast watching that, but I know it has to have come up in Japan because they're addressing it. And if it hadn't come up in Japan, then they just wouldn't bother. They wouldn't bother with it. So it's made its way to Tokyo Sports. He did a backstage promo that is being super overanalyzed by New Japan fans about feeling too scripted and da-da-da-da-da. And like, I think Gabe Kidd is best in a heated post-match, pre-match promo. I don't particularly think Gabe Kidd is the best at, and I don't think he's bad at it by any means, but I don't think he's the best at what I would call a cold promo, right? Sitting in a room.
Yeah, kind of like a pre-tape kind of.
Yeah. That's not his world. He is fueled by adrenaline. And so that's why some of those backstages are so good and so big.
Yeah, he's just going off. He's feeling it. Yeah.
And he's got that either I'm going to have a match or I've just had a match. And sometimes even the press conference stuff, like sometimes that's a little cringy, right? And all of this is really just since he's kind of come into his own in this character. So, people are overanalyzing that backstage promo, or not even backstage, that pre-tape promo that got posted.
It's like a 10-minute
which I thought was pretty good. I didn't think anything of it until I saw some conversation about it, and I was just like, what are you talking about? Like, it was fine. I don't think it was like his best work, but it was just like, I don't know. It's not like he said WWE or something. Like he spoke like he was sitting in a empty room, and that's a different aura, and it's not the best aura for him. So
yeah, I mean, and he was saying all the same things that he always says, and wanting to carry the company and put a company on his back. And he, in that interview, he mentioned he bagged on guys who left. He called out Cobb and Okada and Jay White and all those guys. So, I mean, I don't know. It seems like he's still on the same trajectory as he's always has been, but just had a cup of coffee in AEW, and maybe it was weird, but I don't know.
It was weird, but it like I said, it sort of worked.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Yes, I think it is. I think it's overblown. Like, that's where I'm at with it. I think it was overblown. But I don't think it's just Western fans that have a voice in this. And that's a little concerning, right? Yeah. Because that when it gets out of the hardcore Western fan discourse and into the domestic fan base of Japan discourse, it's pretty big. That's a big deal, because that's not always the case. A lot of the times you can say like, oh, this is just some, American or British fans just getting butthurt about their precious New Japan, right? And it's not that. That's not what's happening. So they had to address it. They had to get ahead of it. And I think at this point you have to have Tsuji, leverage it somehow in the match, or in the press conference before the match, because I think they're doing a presser the night before. So
yeah, there's going to be a presser, because he said that's where he's going to fully explain.
That's right.
Why
that's
he
right.
went to AEW.
Yeah, so I'm open to listening. I'm annoyed that there's this weird continuity thing, but I'm not offended by it. And I feel like some people have turned that corner into being like offended by it.
Yeah, a lot of people were like losing their mind just the second he came out. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal, guys.
I did have a little bit of a chuckle when they like announced the official match and like he wasn't in the match, and I was like, why not?
Yeah,
because Eddie Kingston's not ready to come back too. Like what, I don't know. Yeah, yes. So that's kind of my take on it all. I get it. I get both sides. I'm kind of playing the centrist of it.
Yeah, I'm saying like, as a New Japan fan, like also I don't want Gabe to leave, and it is annoying that all the top guys are going to AEW, but then, as an AEW fan, I'm like, I get it. He's getting paid more money. Like he's getting an opportunity to grow his career.
His role was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been cooler if he was in the match, but I can't explain that away. Like, why do you bring this dude in and not have him at least come eat the pin? I don't know.
Yeah.
Nah.
And they did tease too.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if he would have been in the match and eaten the pin, though?
That would have, another meltdown would have happened.
But it would have sort of confirmed that he's not jumping.
Right, yeah.
So, I don't know. What do you want?
They also teased to Kenny Omega rematch where he had attacked Kenny, and so Forbidden Door 2 or whatever year Forbidden Door is in London.
That's the other thing. Like, you have to build Forbidden Door now because the rest of or now-ish, right? Because the rest of the build's going to be during the G1.
Right. So, and every year people always complain, there's no great build of Forbidden Door. People just show up, or it's like, well,
I'm over here complaining that there is a build. There doesn't need to be a build to Forbidden Door. Just book cool matches.
Yeah.
That's all you need. It's this obsession with storytelling. Like, there can be one cool show a year where there's no story. Just book cool matches.
The story is the match.
Stories. But like, there are stories between a lot of these guys already. You could just book Kenny versus Gabe. Just book it. They told the story already. You probably gotta let Gabe win. But that's a whole other thing. Yeah, but doesn't need a story. But Clark Connors showed up in AEW for a hot second, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty recently.
Yeah.
Now Gabe, right? I think the War Dogs are going to have a pretty heavy presence on the Forbidden Door show. I mean, that should be clear, right?
Yeah.
So like, also, like, how do you get to Finlay versus Jay White? Because that feels like a match that should happen if Jay White's around by then. So like, there's a lot to work with here, but I think you got to plant some seeds now because you're gonna have to just pepper it in as you go if you want there to be stories for that show in London. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I agree with both sides. I understand both sides of the story, but I think I've said my take.
Yeah. Question from Rambo and Slam Pig says, how much has a recent brief foray in AEW damaged Gabe Kidd's actual momentum? Is it primarily a concern among the more online Western fans or a widespread issue? How different is his brief series of appearances than what others under NJPW contract have done in the past?
I think it was a little more featured than some of the other dudes that have popped up, right? And just like had a match on ROH or something. Mm-hmm. So it was in a higher spot. But Gabe is in a higher spot in New Japan than some of those guys. So I'm curious to see the reaction at Dominion because it's Osaka Joe Hall. It's a big show. If he gets kind of rejected, that's going to be concerning. So I don't know yet, I guess is what we don't know anything yet until he steps out from behind that curtain and we see what the reaction is.
Yeah, and that's what I've been telling people that I've been having convos with about this. I'm like, we won't truly know until he comes out and we see that reaction. I mean, and I think it depends too, like what they want to do. Because I mean, you could get a lot of heat if he comes out and there's an AEW logo on his trunks instead of the lion mark.
That's a disaster. Oh God, I'll delete the internet. I'll cancel my Comcast subscription.
And you could have Tsuji
that's
come
the
out.
Wrong kind of heat. Well, Tsuji, I mean, what's Tsuji right now, right?
Yeah, he's unaffiliated, you could have him come with a lion mark on.
Right. I think that's the interesting move. I think that's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. You have Tsuji come out somehow with a lion mark, prominent, because he's going to be the second one that comes out.
Yeah.
So, if Gabe comes out in his War Dogs gear, right, or whatever, not in the lion mark, right? So everyone's sort of like, what the hell, man? Like, what's going on? And then Tsuji comes out with a lion mark somewhere, like defending the honor. I mean, then Gabe's a heel. I mean, oh, that's dirty. I don't know if I want that or not, but I'd be really interested by it. Yeah, Tsuji's unaffiliated.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Or Gabe comes out in the lion mark and he's like, y'all are idiots. Like, I'm here. Like, and he's got to win then.
He comes out with 2 lion marks this time.
Yeah. He actually comes out in like red and yellow and, like the full color garb.
Yeah.
Part of me feels like they're just going to try to downplay it and not do anything with it except in the presser. But if they really lean into it in the presser, something's going to happen in this match. Yeah. I hope. But we've talked. I'm a bold move guy, so do something big. But if Gabe's gonna win, I think he's gotta come out honoring what the character he was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whether that's in the shorts or maybe he's wearing a different pair of trunks, and then like mid match he's like F it, and he pulls them off, and he's got the lion mark trunks on, and like once he's got the crowd, and then just the groundswell, and then he wins. I'm into something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to win. Again, it's, typical Goto 50-50 booking with these guys, and Gabe didn't win. I mean, I guess it was a double count out. Nobody technically won, but Tsuji retained the title the first time.
Right.
So, yeah, I think Gabe is going to win the title this time.
Yeah, and I mean, these guys have hella history back to the Young Lion Cup and all that, too. So, yeah. But yeah, Tsuji has won and then retained. So I think you go with Gabe here, and that clears Tsuji up to at least be a threat headed into the summer NG1 season.
Yeah, that opens up to my potential Tsuji Goto Wrestle Kingdom matchup.
I wouldn't be opposed to like Tsuji and Gabe being the Wrestle Kingdom main event somehow. I don't know how you get there, but they've got great chemistry.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not this year.
Yeah.
But gosh, who knows how long Gabe's here?
Yeah, he might be leaving. You never know. Any day now.
Oh, as far as I can tell from the conversations, he's actually signed to WWE and AEW, and he's gonna go to CMLL or something. Yeah, he's gone already. Like,
yeah.
Slow down. Everything's gonna be all right. It's gonna be okay. He'll be around.
Yeah. We kind of touched on this question, but DeFranco7 says, do you think it's concerning that the opinion of Gabe Kidd's character changed so quickly over an appearance in AEW?
It's concerning, but not surprising. So it's more concerning with the state of the fan base than it is with the state of the fan base's perception of Gabe Kidd.
Yeah. And I think it plays into what you were saying. They bought into a character and they got worked, which is great. It's pro wrestling. You should get worked, and the great workers work people, and that's what happened.
And Gabe's a great worker.
That's what happened.
Clearly, yeah. But he's backtracking a little bit. I'm curious to see. I'm gonna tune into that presser because of that, because of this whole situation. So I think that's appointment viewing. Even if that's not something you normally check in on.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, that's going to take us to the main event for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. Hirooki Goto will defend against the Dragon, Shingo Takagi. Lots of history here between these guys. They've had plenty of never title battles and singles matches. So they're 3-1 overall, with Shingo having more wins over Hirooki Goto. We saw Shingo coming out and challenging Goto after that whole kind of convoluted Goto Saber Shingo kind of showdown there, leading into Resurgence, and Shingo calling out the winner of that match. So that's how we got here. So, and like we mentioned earlier, I feel like this is a matchup where, Goto could easily lose. Obviously, he had a losing record to Shingo. Shingo's been the world champion before. Shingo's looking for a direction in a post-LIJ world. I think they could easily pull a trigger and give Shingo the title and kind of take him in a different direction.
Shingo's 1-0 in Osaka-jo Hall main events. He beat Okada for the vacant heavyweight title in 21.
That was an incredible finish because nobody thought Shingo was beating Okada.
Nope. That rocked. That rocked. Yeah, it's another one. It's great. You can go either way on it. I lean towards Goto holding it, but that's probably preference. And I just think Shingo, people who I talk to frequently about New Japan are not going to be surprised by this, but like, I'm so bored by Shingo. So like, I need a new Shingo, a new something. I need him to do anything. I'm poking him with the stick, do something. Don't just show. I mean, I love the promos and shit talk for this, for this match. I mean, it's been Shingo's been great. A little heel leaning, but like, how do you turn him right now? Like, he's not a part of anything. So what's the turn unless there's some run in or something weird, right? And no one wants to see title change hands on a weird run in interference thing. So that's the question. Like, that's what I find to be a little bit questionable is like, how do you get there? How do you get to a Shingo win that's interesting right now?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a loss is more something like the cat could catapult into something different. Like he's lost his faction and he loses the Dominion main event. He's like, all right, I have.
And he's talking about how he has none of the things that Goto has. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't have a family. Doesn't have a, whatever. Right. Like, So like, I'm looking for anything interesting from Shingo in this match, but I don't think that sets him up to win. But I guess winning is interesting because then he's the champ. But like, I just think you need like a really established heel to win and beat Goto if you're going to do it on, mid-year.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not going to do it in a dome.
Yeah, there's so much heat to build with a heel beating Goto right now. Like the guy that stops the Goto Revolution and stops this great, Cinderella Man run that everybody's loving. Like, which is why I thought like Finlay was going to do it because like, that would have been a perfect role for him. And so, I feel like when Goto does lose, either needs to be a heel or the Tsuji situation where it's a kind of built-in rival. There's a long story, and it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally with you there. So, I'm fearful as always with any of these Goto matches that they're gonna make the change because Shingo's credible. He's certainly credible. I just don't think he's very interesting right now. So that's where I run into an issue. And but I do think, all that said, this should be a great match.
Oh yeah.
This should be great. Goto has not been going super long in these title matches. So I kind of like that about this reign too. I think that's part of what's keeping it feel fresh. Like nothing has overstayed its welcome.
Yeah.
And Shingo's really good in that like 20-25 minute range. He can go long too. I mean, Shingo's average heavyweight or world heavyweight title match is 35 minutes or 34-21. So which I'm looking at right now. Goto's average, and some of this goes back, way back when, but Goto's average is under 23. So like he's keeping it tight. Goto's average during this reign is 21 minutes and 4 seconds.
I like that.
Right. That's the sweet spot, especially for this reign, right? Goto has a style about him that caters to that. And I think Shingo does too. I think that's why that Shingo reign didn't get all the praise in the world as like one of the greatest reigns, because some of that stuff, and that was just of the era, right? It was that
pandemic,
2021, 2022 era where like everything was so long. So he was sort of a little bit out of his element. So yeah, but Shingo's a lengthy wrestler for singles matches in general. So, but if they stick the landing in the 24, 25 minute range, even, I think that could be really hot. Really good match. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. I hope they kind of keep it succinct and powerful, because that's the style that these two dudes can really bring.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it just seems to be like a never style matchup
Mm-hmm.
in the main event, and do what they would do in a never match, and hard hitting, big lariats, sprint style.
Yeah, maybe you can give it like that third act where Goto finally turns the corner and like gives him all the finishers or whatever. But it doesn't have to be like a flash finish type thing. But other than that, yeah, I think you're dead on. I mean, go into it like you're going into a never title match, in a big spot, So I'm excited. I'm super excited for this main event. I think, but part of that's the uncertainty and wanting. I really want the Goto reign to continue. I'm not ready for it to end. I think there's some conversation that the Goto reign has gotten a little cold or has cooled off a little bit. But I think part of that's just that they haven't done anything in a month because the best of Super Juniors. So like, I don't think it's the Goto reign that cooled off. I think it's just happenstance or
just the calendar.
Scheduling.
Yeah.
That's just the pace of May. May is Super Juniors after Duntaka. But yeah. So I don't see a lane to make Shingo interesting enough to win this match right now.
Yeah, and business wise, why get rid of the hot hand when you don't have something super solid to replace that? Like, I mean, Shingo's great, but I mean, he didn't really draw super, super well when he was champion. Again, I know it was pandemic kind of area.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, so I think business-wise, I feel like keeping it on Goto makes a lot of sense.
I just think there's a little bit more to do. This will be Hirooki Goto's only title reign.
Right. He's probably never winning it again.
Yeah. So squeeze the juice, right? Like squeeze all the juice you can out of this orange. And like, there's so much more. There's more interesting stuff you can do with Forbidden Door. And then you've got, before that, you've got the G1. Before that, you've got the G1. And, that makes Goto, a hot ticket throughout the whole G1. So you put Goto in one block, you put Tanahashi in the other block, and you've got a draw on every night.
Mm-hmm.
Like that feels so obvious to me, but
and plus I think the kind of the cherry on the cake of this whole run is to get him a Tokyo Dome world title main event.
Yeah, and people are buying tickets. People maybe not for that. I don't know. Are those on sale yet?
I don't think so.
Are those on sale yet?
No, I don't think so yet.
Yeah. So like, but in general, people are still buying tickets for these big shows. And I know the Dominion tickets were moving slow. That's the last I heard, but who knows, right? I mean, the card wasn't complete. I think this card is a really nice card. So I think that the numbers will pop. Maybe not, mind blowing by any means, but I think they'll be good. Yeah. So I think you stick with Goto. I would stick with Goto. I think I do. I think there's a little more juice to squeeze. I think you can get him because now then you've got some big stretches of time where he doesn't have to do any defenses. Mm-hmm. You've got like G1, the Ryogoku after G1, and then I guess probably a Forbidden Door thing, and then I guess maybe a power struggle defense, and then you're headed home. And I think anyone becomes an interesting option to win the G1 if Goto's holding the title. Literally everyone.
Yeah. And then two, you can set up a ton of challenges in the fall to make that really interesting too. Like you're mentioning, I mean, you could have him do Destruction, you can have him do the whole fall.
Sure. Yeah. he has been defending on he defended on the New Japan Cup quarterfinals.
Yeah,
like,
he's pretty much once a month he's been defending.
Yeah. Maybe he's trying to take down Okada's defense record. I know, a different title, different lineage, blah 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 blah. Anyone with a brain knows it's the same title. But I'm annoyed by that too. But that's a whole nother thing. You could even, I mean, I would love to see Yoshihashi beats him in the blocks after Yoshihashi fights through the what do they call it? The
qualifier?
The qualifier. Yoshihashi fights through the qualifier, lands himself in Goto's block, beats him, and they do Yoshihashi in Destruction.
Yeah,
which is funny because Yoshihashi in Destruction is disastrous.
Yeah. What if you have Yoshihashi play spoiler and he's the one that keeps Goto from going to the finals?
Sure. Why not? Right? Why not? I think at some point you got to do that match though, right?
Oh yeah.
I think it'd be great. Yeah, there's plenty more to do with this Goto run. But I do think it should end at Wrestle Kingdom. I think we should all know it's ending at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do this. I think that'd be amazing. But who knows? I've been trashing the booking all night. So for all I know,
some nice DMs from some of our friends about some stuff you said.
No, because I don't think so, because I don't talk to any of the bookers, and I don't think any of the wrestlers would at least adamantly disagree.
Yeah.
Unless I'm way off base, but I don't think I am. So no, I don't think I'll get any DMs. If I do, they'll be on Twitter, and I won't see them for a couple of days. So that's fine. I won't see them until I go to post my stats.
Push your New Japan Soul stats and
yeah.
Oh, somebody replied.
Oh, hey, look at that new message request. Shoot. All that said, I think Goto's winning. But I'm not ruling out a Shingo win.
Yeah. A couple questions here. Reddit user BYT1. Do you think Goto walks out with the belt? And do you think Goto versus Shibata is a possibility for the IWGP World title at Forbidden Door?
What do you think? You're a little more in tune with AEW than I am. I watch the big shows, really, but... Yeah,
I mean, that makes sense to me. I mean, they have, I think on Twitter, I think Shibata said he wanted that matchup. I just don't know. I know New Japan's been very arm's length, we don't want anything to do with Shibata. And he had that exhibition with Tanahashi. And so, I mean, technically it's a more AEW show. It'll be in London. So maybe since it's not in Japan and it's not a fully New Japan show, maybe they'll be okay with it. I mean, if I'm them, I do it. I think that's the perfect match. I think the London fans, they'll eat that up. They're both super over there. They would know the history between those guys. And, I think for Forbidden Door, we've kind of seen some weak IWGP World title matches. I think this would be a very strong, very meaningful World title match.
Yeah, and you still, who would win, but it would be cool. It would have some heart. I think medically that's an AEW show.
Yeah.
So, among other things, but you're right. I mean, I know that it is a collaborative show, obviously. So it's also that's the easiest thing to book. You just throw the graphic out.
There's no explanation. I mean, you can do a video package. These guys talk about their history and all their never title matches, and you can talk about the history of Shibata. Getting injured his last world title match, and there's so much you can do going into that. I mean, right now Shibata, he's 1/3 of the trios champions, but I mean, I still
can't beat him.
Big member of the Ops.
I mean, speaking of the Ops, I would rather not rather maybe, but I don't know, throw Samoa Joe in there. Who cares?
Dude,
that'd
Joe
be amazing.
versus Goto would be dope.
That'd be amazing.
Joe would probably have to win.
God, I'm sorry I said that, because now that's what I want. Shibata would be cool. Anything's better than, honestly, what was it? Oh, last year was Moxley Naito. That was big enough,
but it sucked though.
But it did. Oh, I didn't say it. I didn't say it was good.
But on paper, yes, it was a bigger matchup than the previous Sonata Jack Perry.
What's Jack Perry up to?
Making knives.
What?
Yeah, haven't seen those videos of all the knife stuff he's like making and whatever.
I have not.
So
yeah, no. Yeah, I'm down with it. I think that's the most obvious choice. So I think they should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then MJ asked, regardless of the outcome in this match, does this championship reign make Goto a Hall of Famer?
Gosh, that's a really good question. I think it should reopen the conversation. And I clearly it does, because this person's asking. I assume we're sort of talking Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame.
That's what I assume,
Style, right? That's sort of the renowned Hall of Fame amongst those of us who understand, who talk ball, as some like to say. God, I'd have to think about that before I went too hard on it, but I would definitely open the book on it.
Yeah, I think he has a stronger chance. I mean, Ishii got in alone on match quality, and also Ishii is one of the greatest in-ring workers. And I mean, Goto has a library of great matches himself, and then I think the one thing he has over Ishii now is this long world title reign that drove money and was a business mover, and he was a legitimate, main event draw, which also Ishii never had that. So I think it's a whole another wrinkle that helps Goto's candidacy.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably vote for him just for the sake of keeping the conversation open. Yeah. I don't think he would get in. Because I don't think it has moved business. I think it has moved tickets in Japan, right? I don't think it has moved business in the way of bringing New Japan back to the forefront of wrestling as a whole. Right. The way that Okada Omega did, the way that Tanahashi's general existence for a time period did, right? Like, and guys are starting to get into that Hall of Fame, and it's something I've been an advocate for as long as I've been involved with it on one category, but I still don't think Goto has any of those one categories that's super strong. But my bias would force me to vote for him. And no shame in that. You vote for what you feel, right? It's interesting. I'm curious to see what others who are maybe a little bit more involved with that process, like John Muse, great guy to talk to about the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame, just like really thoughtful about it. I talked to him a lot when Ishii was on the ballot. We worked hard to get Ishii into that Hall of Fame. I was at least a little bit helpful in that conversation. So yeah, I'm gonna prompt a couple people with that, and maybe the next time it comes up, we'll chat about it. Yeah, but
yeah, I think especially if he gets to the Tokyo Dome, and if it draws big,
right? If he gets to the Tokyo Dome and it like way outdraws this year's, I don't want to call it a disaster, but disappointment. I think then there's a real conversation to be had. So maybe not this year, but I think maybe if this reign goes to Tokyo Dome and Tokyo Dome pulls in 30K again or whatever, but the draws mixed up because of the Tanahashi retirement.
Yeah.
Shoot. so people, devil's advocate for the other side, right? Dang, that's messy. But main event's a main event, right? I don't know. I gotta go. Good question, great question. Now I'm gonna be up all night thinking about it. So thanks.
Wukong 901 says, how do you guys feel about the junior belt not being on the Dominion card? On top of that, Vegeta not having the opportunity to become the youngest IWGP junior champion.
I don't really care about the youngest thing. I don't think that's fueling anything. Not being on the Dominion card, I don't love that. I think generally you should just run with what's hot in the moment. And I think people were happy that Fujita won the Super Juniors and looking forward to the match with El Desperado. But I think they played it off well enough. He could be wrestling Jun Kasai.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
which would be amazing.
Deathmatch Vegeta.
Deathmatch junior champion run. I'm sort of down because again, it's just something interesting. And who knows? Maybe Fujita wants a deathmatch run. I don't know. Yeah, I don't love it, but the junior belt wasn't on the Dominion card last year, was it?
Well, the finals was the main event.
Right. Well, that's what I mean.
Ishimori, yeah.
Yeah. Who was the champion? It doesn't matter. Yeah, I wish it was clean. I always wish these things are clean. I ranted somewhere about the Wrestle Kingdom main event not being the G1 winner last year. So yeah, I always want it to be kind of the classic progression. But it's a weird one though with the Jun Kasai thing and all that happening. I don't know. I don't have a good feel for why this is this way.
Yeah, I think the pro of it would be it's probably going to be on a big working main event. Like it'll main event its own show. It'll get its own spotlight. It'll get plenty of time. So I think that would be a good thing because on this card is stacked. Like if this match was on this card, I don't know how much time it gets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or where do you put it?
Yeah.
Because they have been slotting the titles very classically this year on these shows. Mm-hmm. It's very much like clear progression of where each title lives in the match order. So the junior title match would be before the tag title match, even probably.
Yeah.
The heavyweight tag title. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It would be like 6th from the top. Probably. And I think this Fujita Desperado will be better than 6 from the top on any show.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it. But again, I like tradition. So I like when things are crispy that way.
And that tradition plays into this next question. Rambone says, what do you make of the recent decoupling of round robin tournament victories from the traditional title challenge at one of the big temple shows? Do Dominion and Wrestle Kingdom suffer for missing that special victor versus champion match?
Well, I sort of just talked about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think especially for Wrestle Kingdom, because I guess maybe for the Western fan, it's kind of that Royal Rumble, WrestleMania kind of moment, and I think that's really helped kind of build up Wrestle Kingdom when you know the challenger, you know the champion, and you have months of build to this big world title match. And yeah, I kind of I think it adds weight to the G1, which I know winning the G1 in itself, it's a thing and you kind of have a claim to being the best wrestler. But I think it adds even more weight that you're getting this Tokyo Dome main event. And I think it gives a stamp of approval to the fans. Like, all right, this guy, Kenny Omega's up. He won the G1. Naito's up. He won the G1. Okada won the G1. Like, it automatically, I feel like, stamps you as a guy and as a main eventer. And I think when you take it away from Wrestle Kingdom, which we saw last year, people were kind of asking questions about Zack. Like, do they not trust Zack being a challenger in the Tokyo Dome? Or, like, what's the situation there? It felt kind of weird and kind of took the G1 win down a notch, I think, for Zack. And based off what they did, like, I think it would have been better to just have Zack beat Naito at the Dome. Not, Umino didn't need to be in there. So
it was almost more, looking back on that one, it was more that they didn't trust Umino to win the G1.
True, yeah.
Like when it really comes down to it, right? They didn't trust Umino to win the G1, and but then why did you trust him to win
the challenge?
the to challenge at the Tokyo Dome or to main event Tokyo Dome. Again, another one of those like weird lack of continuity decisions. I already said I like the clean. This is what happens after this thing happens, and I think that's a strength of New Japan, right? Like we're talking about Dominion. Whatever, 6/15 this year, but whatever. It's always one of the first couple Saturdays, Sundays, whatever days and weekend days in June. There's this sort of rhythm. There's this calendar rhythm for New Japan, and I think that's great. And I think a lot of that. I think people appreciate that. Fans appreciate that.
Yeah.
So overall, I don't like it. The Super Juniors, I feel like we're not as connected to the Dominion title match.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, I don't feel as strongly about it. Plus, just because it probably won't get as much time as somebody main eventing the Tokyo Dome.
I was going to say, it's not like you're slotting it in. You're taking away a main event, right? You're taking away, somewhere 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th from the top match off the Dominion card. So, and what we know that El Desperado likes a bigger spot on a smaller show.
Yeah.
And, he, for good reason, has a little bit of pull about some of this stuff. So,
and we've seen that. He's had a ton of Corkin defenses this year, all main events. And I think it's a great thing to kind of headline the junior title with its own shows and make that a drawing title.
Yeah, and there's no chance here because there's no road to Dominion. There's no chance for like a junior Dominion, right? Like there was, junior Genesis and all that stuff. Like, and I love that. I think that's brilliant. So I have no issue with that, with splitting off the juniors to have like a big, whatever the big road to show, like give them a hot spot on it. So, but the G1 one, I can't speak more on because I spoke too much on it in last year. But this one it feels like there's something weird about it though. Cause is it a tell? Do you think it's a tell that because they're not doing the match now that either Fujita or El Desperado is going to win? Like, either direction? Does it tell you anything?
I don't think so. I mean, part of me is thinking like Despy going through a death match opens the door for Vegeta to win. A weekend Despy's coming in, and that could be the story of like, yeah, he won, but he didn't beat Despy at 100%, and then he got a built-in rematch there. Or I could just see Despy winning because they take forever to push young guys, and why give somebody, something cool and hot, build a star and do this whole tragedy storyline and make him chase Despy.
Yeah.
And there is Doki waiting in the wings to come back, and people want to see Doki challenge Despy.
I mean, I want that. Yeah. Dang. Yeah.
So I think it can go either way.
Yeah. It's same. It's weird. It's just like there's no.
But it does feel weird.
It feels like something's up. Because why wouldn't you just do the match and either get the title off of Despy so you can go do this killer death match, which is probably gonna be crazy, or you keep the title on him and he's gonna win.
Yeah.
The death match.
Well, maybe it plays into what you were saying. Like maybe he just was like, I want all my title matches to be Corkin main events.
Corkin or whatever, right? Like one of the Ota or something, whatever. I don't know what's on the Soul Tour, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, it feels like that's more it than anything. Is that Despy is chosen to have bigger spots on smaller shows versus small spots on big shows.
Yeah, he's like,
I get that. That makes sense to me. I'm down with that.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not main eventing Dominion, then fine. Give me Corkin and we'll tear the house down.
We'll kill it. Yeah. And they will. That match is going to be great whenever it happens.
Yeah. And then Doc says, is this the lowest point for the junior division? Why that the division as a whole seems shunned?
Well, that's an opinion formed in the form of a question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't have a reaction for that because I don't agree.
Yeah, I don't think the division's been shunned. I mean, also we talked about the tournament wasn't, a high peak as some previous years, but Despy's had a ton of Corkin main events that we talked about, the whole junior Genesis. We talked about the junior tag division being great. Like, I feel like there's so much good going with the juniors. I don't think them missing a Dominion match hurts them. I mean, would I have loved to see it on Dominion? Sure. I mean, they could have done at least a preview tag maybe to have them on the show.
Yeah, that's actually interesting that they don't.
Gotta have that, mystery Ward House of Torture X on there,
I hate it.
But I don't think that means the whole division is shunned.
Yeah, no. I'm not high on the booking of Best of Super Juniors, but I'm not like burying it either. Yeah. I'm not burying the division because of that. I just think it was a, I think it was a weekly booked tournament. Lazily even. Yeah. Just lazy, just lazy. Just didn't want to get creative with it. But they sort of did because Fujita went through in this convoluted way, but like nobody caught on to what was happening because they hadn't built it up at all. Yeah. But that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, no, I don't think we were just talking about how great the junior tag division is. Yeah. Like in general, obviously right now they're trying to do something that's probably not going to catch, but whatever. Yeah. But in general, like that's been a hot division, and Despy's reign has been great. And you've still got, really interesting stuff happening with guys like Hiromu. Even Hiromu's interesting in the sense that like he put over all the next generation guys in the Best Super Juniors, which to me means he's moving on, which creates some space. So yeah, no, I don't agree, Doc. Sorry, buddy.
All right, so that's going to do it for Dominion. Got a few news items here and then some questions, and we'll wrap up the show. So we already talked about the junior title match being at the Deaf Pain Invitational with Despy taking on Jun Kasai. So that's on June 24th.
Is that a pay-per-view?
They haven't announced yet, but the Despy Invitational last year was a pay-per-view. Yeah. So I'm wondering this might be one too.
And what was the last deathmatch thing?
The one that had a 3-way on it.
Yeah, that was pay-per-view too, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so I would imagine that it will be.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have news coming out of Naito and Bushi. They are now Los Tranquilos de Japón.
FKA Los Ingobernables. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the logo looks like the LIG logo.
Yeah, it's one of those like, can I copy your homework? Yeah, don't make it obvious.
But what did you expect?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's fine. Yeah. Good for them. Yeah. Keep going.
Then today there was the NJPW versus DDT Toriano versus Super Sasadango Machine from Corkin Hall. Didn't watch the show, but I have the results here. So Daiki Nagai wrestled Kazuma Sumi to 2 time limit draws. Then there was Tanahashi, Yano, and Yo defeating Akito, Antonio Honda, and Super Sasadango Machine. And then they wrestled again, I guess, with more people all teaming in. And then the main event was the DDT Extreme titles match with Super Sasadango Machine wrestling Toriano to a double countout, 126 minutes and 32 seconds.
Is that a typo?
I don't know. I copied it from Cage Match. I mean, it was only a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 match show.
Sort of. I mean, some of these, there's a lot of Paul Heyman special in here.
Yeah.
With the Bebop tag. No one calls them that anymore. Why does Cage Match still call them that? The Bebop tag team. Like two matches are the same. the first two, and then the second two matches are sort of the same, but with just some extra stuff happening. And then you've got this 2 hours of Toru Yano. Like that's just a comedy show. I'm not going to watch that, Jeremy.
Neither am I. I'm not paying $19 to watch this.
No, I'm not paying 6 gigabytes on Extreme Wrestling torrents for it either. Even whatever it is.
Even if it was part of New Japan World, I still wouldn't watch it. If it was free. Like, no.
They even at 2X, which is an available option on New Japan World.
Yeah.
That's still an hour of your time. For what? Like, no. Moving on. Yeah. Thanks for the results.
Then the NJPW Academy All-Star Showcase is coming up at the LA Dojo on July 5th. This is going to be a special showcase that spotlights the history of the NJPW Academy, with all 7 graduating classes being represented. Then last item here, Shuri successfully defended the IWGP Women's title against Alex Windsor at the recent Pro Wrestling Eve event.
Is that when Alex Windsor announced she signed AEW?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Neat.
Yeah.
Good for her.
And then there's a few questions here, and we'll wrap it up. Defrango 720 says, question to Chris. I guess just Chris only, not me.
Wow.
He says, do you think the company can stick to the current roster without putting people in new factions before the end of the year?
Oh, we talked about this, but I'll kind of try to succinctly answer that. I don't think they should, but I think there's a chance that they will.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they have any motivations to shake up any factions right now.
I also what's so unclear to me is are they really that committed to keeping all of these factions, right? Keeping United Empire, keeping, I guess, War Dogs, House of Torture, those seem pretty established, but United Empire, where do the LIJ guys align even? They're not Hantai, they're just unaligned. Some of that I would love some clarity to start to shake out a little bit, but I just don't see any activity towards it, and that's weird. And I sort of meant to bring this up during the last time we chatted about, but maybe they're just trying to move away from being a faction company.
Maybe, yeah.
But
I don't know why. It works.
I don't know why. I don't know why either. It works. It's very definitive. It helped me figure it all out. I think it helps people figure it all out. But
yeah, I think it works too when you're doing all these multi-man tours. You put factions versus faction, and then it works itself out.
Yeah. So I guess I think they can. They can. Again, they write this shit. They can do whatever they want.
Right.
I don't think they should. I don't think it's a good business move either. I think they got to start to lock some guys in.
Yeah. He also asked if they do a qualifier for 2 spots in G1. Who do you think should definitely be in it? He says he thinks Shota nor Yuya should have a guaranteed spot in the tournament. Neither of them had an impressive year.
Wow. Another opinion disguised as a question, Jeremy. Got to filter this stuff. They're doing qualifiers. My understanding is they're doing qualifiers on the Seoul tour. My fear, maybe not fear. I think they might burn one of the sides on Tanahashi getting in.
Well, I think you kind of have to based off of last year, right?
Right, because he didn't get in. And this series, he should get in that way. Man, how many singles matches is this man going to have?
Bro, he's... it's going to be insane.
All of them.
Yeah.
He's gonna have all of them. I'm going to have to pull his year by year. I'm sure I have it somewhere. His year by year, because he might have more singles matches this year than ever.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's neat. It's a good way to go out, I guess. It's an honorable way to go out, that's for sure. I don't know about this Shota or Yuya thing. What Shota? What impressive? What do we mean? keep in mind, we have to keep in mind when we're looking at this stuff, like, look, you got to look at the stuff I look at, which is like the wins and the losses and like the match quality. Yes, it matters and it helps guys get into better spots on the card, but it is not how this type of stuff gets determined. How this type of stuff gets determined in general and historically with New Japan is via wins and losses. Or wins and losses in previous tournaments. Now there's a you could say Shota, right, had a bad G1 last year and then didn't win the challenge at the Tokyo Dome. So there's something there, right? And I do actually think maybe it's a way to heat him up because he would obviously win. Because he's gonna be in the G1. Sorry. Yuya, I don't know. I think he's just kind of in the middle, right? Like, and he was heating up last year in the G1, and but again, it is a good way to heat him up. But I think both those dudes are going to be in the tournament. Like that seems like a given to me. I think the more interesting way to do it is you take one spot and you clearly build up one of the old guard guys, right? Like. Even if it's Tanahashi, then that sort of slots that way. One of the old guys that might be on their way out of the tournament or maybe missed the tournament last year, like Ishii, and you have them, get back into the tournament that way. And then you have a young surprising guy win like Oleg and go into the tournament that way. I think that's
Oleg might be never champion, so he might have his.
Oh yeah.
spot.
I meant like Oleg last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Oleg's in.
I would do Tanahashi and Hiromu as the two people.
Yeah, right. I think Hiromu is the play. I think that's how you get Hiromu into the G1 without having to be like he's going heavyweight. Like,
right.
I think, but I also think you could just write Tanahashi into the G1, and he could just say like I'm doing my last G1. I'm freaking Hiroshi Tanahashi.
I'm the president.
I'm in the tournament. Like
the president says so.
Like I know I didn't get in last year, but we all saw this coming. I'm in the tournament. I actually think that's the better way to do it because then you start to sell some tickets. Because then you assume he's on the whole tour and hopefully you lay out which singles matches and stuff he's getting. So, but I think Hiromu is a great shout. I think you put Hiromu on one side and then on the other side, maybe you if Ishii's in the tournament, you have him win his way back in, or Taichi, or, one of those guys who got bounced late last year and was sort of surprising to get back, or Yoshihashi, right? Like there's any number of options there. It would be disappointing to see like Hiromu in the qualifier tournament and not get into the tournament though.
Yeah.
So like, and I hate to tell, I hate one of those things that feels so obvious, but they're also very good at making those things exciting. So yeah, that's sort of the mix of people that I think should be in either like the juniors that want to move up, like Hiromu, the young guys that you don't think have a shot and then sneak their way in, or like the old guys that are working their way, that have been in G1s and are working their way back in. And then you've got a mix of people that could plausibly win and go in. And I think that's the whole idea with a short, single elimination tournament like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always,
and I think Hiromu will be in the G1.
Yeah. I mean, why not at this point? Like, there's no reason not to put him in.
Poke the stick, do something.
Yeah.
I mean, Hiromu, him too. I mean,
yeah.
But I think this Best of Super Juniors with the Akira and the big spots where Hiromu lost, like it felt so obvious that he's gonna try to move up.
Yeah.
Like for real this time, not just like people talking about it.
Yeah. And plus they had the whole Ishii rivalry going before Super Juniors, so I mean, maybe that's the qualifier finals right there.
Another G1 without Ishii though, and Ishii like just didn't do the G1, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's sort of hurt. He can't do it." And then he like went and wrestled like a bunch of bangers in AEW. Right. No one talked about that.
Maybe he wants another U.S. summer vacation.
He's got the strong title. He's got to defend it somewhere. May as well be Ring of Honor.
Right? Yeah. True.
I mean, they got a residency in Chicago and during the G1, so. Come on over, Ishii. I got a couch right behind me. I'll put him up.
That'd be awesome.
It would be amazing. Well, I mean, the last time Ishii was in Chicago, I saw him walking down the street to like go to get a Diet Coke, like, and he was just like totally unassuming, just like literally. I like drove past him, and the person I was with was like, Ishii's going to get a Diet Coke, and I was like, what? And I like turned, and like there he was, and he's just walking down the street in Chicago, just like nothing, like thinking nothing of it. Yeah, it was pretty funny, but yeah, that dude loves America, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe he just loves the payday of America.
I think
it's hard to love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Defring also asks, let's say Doki returns before WrestleKingdom 20. Do you think he should get his rematch for the title before the Dome or at the Dome?
Ooh, I think at the Dome is coolest. I think he should come back at like after whatever the junior title match is at Power Struggle, like Hiromu did in 2019, and then somehow weave his way into the junior title match at Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah,
and I honestly think there's a really good chance that is the timeline.
Yeah, I think I haven't heard a lot of progress on his recovery, but yeah, I think that's the move, and then built-in story right there, even if it's not against Despy, of him trying to win the title at the Dome.
Yeah.
MJ says, can you wildly speculate on the timing for Nakashima and Lube to return, and how much longer do you figure Murashima and Kato have left before they graduate?
Returning from excursion is such an odd pacing thing because they always leave a little bit of space where like the guys are not working usually, like they get some time off, I guess, before they like hit the ground again. So wildly speculating, they come back at New Beginning. Feels like it's in a really long time, but yeah. I don't know. That seems like wild speculation.
Yeah. I mean, I think Power Struggle would be a good spot to then get them into a World Tag League.
Yeah, fair.
If they're going to come back this year.
Yeah. I think they're coming back this year. I do think that. I mean, how much is there to do in New Zealand? Which is where they are right now. They're about to be tag champs.
Yeah, about to win the Tamashi tag titles.
Oh, God.
Got to defend those against Fale and Jack Bonza, you know?
Like, we all saw that, right? Like, we all saw that posted, and we're like, oh, like, why do they need a title? Like,
yeah.
What? Never mind. Never mind. But yes, they're clearly going to win the tiny tournament in a warehouse that they don't sell tickets to.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Oh, man. So, and then Murashima and Kato, I don't know. I mean, again, that's kind of been weird too.
It classically, though, it does feel like they do kind of the going away singles challenge in the June tour. Mm-hmm. It's usually, I mean, it's usually Casino Road, but now they're calling that tour Seoul. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, that's when Tsuji and Uemura left. That's when I feel like that's about when Loibe and Nakashima left. But I might be wrong on that one. But yeah, that is kind of traditionally a common time for someone to kind of make their last Young Lion run. So if we see that pop up, I wouldn't be super surprised. But I don't know. I don't know if they feel like it's time yet.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them being around for another year.
Another year, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that also feels kind of crazy. But they are also moving faster with a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
So there's that. So if we're anticipating that to continue, then I suppose we should expect maybe we'll get a little bit of a peek at it with that opening match on Dominion. Yeah. If that feels like they do a lot more than they usually do or something, or the backstage comments feel a little bit more like they're moving forward, then yeah, maybe we'll see something there. So yeah, eyes on that.
Yeah. Then last question here from Barry Walsh, off-topic question. He says, with the rumors of the Sex Pest and McMahon possibly looking to buy WWE back, would this be a good thing for wrestling as a whole? He seems less bothered with overseas partnerships and selling up all these versions of NXT. So would it, from a New Japan perspective, be a good thing if that did happen? No more Noah partnership and no more possible NXT Japan.
I mean, that's not happening, so I don't feel a need to address that.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of really bad news sites that are coming up with this rumor. I think Jonathan Coachman's been spreading the rumor. Yeah, Vince is not buying back the company, and if hypothetically he did, I mean, all the global stuff was happening before he left. You know, they had the whole map of where all the NXTs were going, and
global localization.
Yeah, like he would definitely be all over that. So it's not just a TKO Triple H thing. So,
but also check where you get your news from.
Yes, go to credible sources. Go to Observer, Torch, Social Suplex, What's Wrestling.
Yeah, media literacy is important. Not just in wrestling, everywhere. Media literacy. Work on it. Because I don't know you, Barry Walsh, but this is an outrageous question. Like, especially, I mean, in the context of everything, like, no, like, come on, get it together.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to wrap the show up. Chris, thank you for joining me this week. Appreciate it, man.
Heck yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Like I said off air, I love a clean show. One topic mainly. I mean, one big topic preview show, and all the things I'm wrong about, you know, in all likelihood, I don't have to talk about, you know, so unless you call me on, you know, whatever, Saturday or Sunday next week and you need a fill in. But so that's what's great about being the preview guy is, like, I don't know. Nobody can come at me next week. It's great. It's perfect. Well, but no, I love a day on Keeping It Strong Style. I look forward to this all day. So I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Of course. And I wore my Chicago Tanahashi shirt.
There you go.
Just for
Sick,
you.
Yeah. Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Next week, the young boy, Josh Smith, should be making his return back from his mini excursion from the show. So he should be back next week to help us review Dominion. So remember, if you want to watch our show live, listen without ads, you can sign up at patreon.com/KIStrongstyle. You can also make a donation by visiting socialsuplex.com and click on the donate button of the Keeping It Strong Style logo. Make sure you connect with us on social media on X and Blue Sky. Follow us at KI Strong Style, at Socialsuplex, and at Jeremy L. Donovan. On Facebook, follow us at facebook.com/Socialsuplex and the Wrestling Squared Circle Facebook group. On Reddit, on the Pro Black Guy, Josh is Keeping It Strong Style. On YouTube, we're at Socialsuplex. You can join our Discord server to interact with us and other wrestling fans. You can email me, Jeremy, at socialsuplex.com, and check out all those shows that we have here on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. One Nation Radio, hosted by Rich Latta and James Floyd. All Things Elite with Floyd and Austin. Imps, WWE Adventure with the Implications, Matthew Mayer. Wrestling Art with Chris Things. Tunnel Talk with Allie and Aaliyah. And the Trish and Sarah Wrestling Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review. And we'll catch you next week on Keeping It Strong Style, the ace of podcasts.
Ichiban.
Thank you for listening to Keepin' It Strong Style. We'll see you next time.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.